so we can talk. We can talk about what happened. We can talk about what's probably going to happen and why I think that's how it is going to work. So I'm going to make some coffee and wait for all of you to come in. And I appreciate that you guys are with me. Let me see who's commenting. I just watched A Balance. He kept it short. I'm glad he kept it short because I was going to make this video 20 hours ago. Almost 20 hours ago. And then I realized that... almost 20 hours ago. Wait. And then I realized that... Hey, Sandra. And Sandy. And Janet. Chudels. Wolf. Yeah, it worked out well, guys, because A Balance kept this video short. And the whole time I was thinking, shit, I should have made this video 20 hours ago when I gotten this image before, well, you know. Anyhow, anywho, I think I'm going to do that from now on. The moment I got something I'm interested in, bam, I turned on the camera and we'll go from there. So this is something that I don't have the whole backstory on, but maybe you guys can fill me in a little bit. Because from what I understand, he had a girlfriend for 2 months and she leaked some of this. Listen, I don't know about this. I don't pay too much attention to it, but I'm interested. And I love the way that A Balance talks because he says, well, according to him, Daniel banked a super hot chick. Or I forgot the language he used, but something like that. And he's been with her for a little bit. And I don't know how it all happened and when it happened. And again, I, on purpose, I do not pay attention to what most people pay attention to, right? Because I have to always zoom into, I always have to get back to the basics and say, okay, let me forget all of this. Let's go to his statements only. Because, you know, was somebody there to spy on him? I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. I don't dismiss and I don't believe automatically, right? There are blind believers and there are blind dismissers. And to me, that's equally bad, or rather counterproductive, right? You know people like that in your life, right? They don't believe nothing. Or they're they're so-called skeptical, but in reality, they just choose to disbelieve everything. And so for me, I spend too much time getting deep into it, right? I cannot let it rest and say, well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, who cares? No, once I pay attention to it, I care. And I cannot let go, right? So, wow, guys, I'm happy to have all of you here. Very cool. Let me see who's coming, Maxine. The latest got out of Dodge rather quickly. You know what? They split up, right? He had a girlfriend. This was posted by his new girlfriend from after Malaya. Got it, Charlotte. Okay, so apparently Daniel, being his own worst enemy, and sent this one to his girlfriend, right? The new girlfriend was only with him 2 or 3 months. Well, I missed this. But the crazy thing is that we talked about this before in my chat, right? That was what? a month and a half ago when Daniel was here, and somebody asked him, "You have a new girlfriend?" And he said, "No." He said, "Well, what's her name? I want to know what's her name, because I don't have one." But maybe he didn't want to tell anybody. I should look at the statement again and analyze it. But I didn't pay attention to those statements, right? Because when some of you asked, do you have a new girlfriend? Are you feeling lonely? This and that. So I analyze always the things that are standing out to me in terms of maybe there's an answer, maybe there's a leakage here, maybe there's something that I'll be able to get more answers on. And look, I am going back and forth right now. I'm 50-50 on whether or not this case is going to be solved. Well, I'm still 60-40 actually, that it won't be solved. But I have really, really high hopes that Daniel will say something that will get things really, really going again. You see, he should be doing what, a lot of people who have committed crimes, gotten away with them, what they have been doing. They lay low. They shut up. They may delete their Facebook accounts or simply stop posting on it. They delete the app from their phone and say, I'm not going on there unless, maybe I get a new account with a different name and then I can see what people say about me. But they're not putting themselves out there. And Daniel is a very emotional guy. That's what I keep on saying, guys. He's super emotional, this dude. Extremely. So when he has something on his mind that upsets him, he needs to talk about it, even when it's incriminating. He has a tendency to do that. And this particular message, Barons was absolutely right. This is such a similarity to Orrin and Orson West, because there, the other children in the house were the reason that the parents gotten convicted. They testified. And they witnessed, at least with one of the two boys, they witnessed enough to where the jury convicted both parents of murder. And, they're behind bars. So there is now, Daniel said, well, everything is not the best. Meadow is going into CPS custody. Wasn't she, or was she in custody already and then she was out of CPS custody and back with Malaya? She's living in the reservation, right, next to the chief. Maybe she got extra protection. Maybe Meadow was with her for some time. I'm not sure exactly. But let's go also to the, by the way, is this working here? Okay, yeah, it is. Let me bring up something that, of course, as some of you have already caught, who wrote the Malaya note? You see, that's the one which I featured, and it was, a different voice than Malaya's speaking. I've pointed it out. As a mother, I love my children more than life, blah, 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 blah. But the strange thing is, in the end, well, look at this, I mean, who misspells their own name? And why did she sign underneath? And is that the same handwriting? Or did somebody else do it for her? Did somebody else say, well, let's sit down together and sort of come up with some bullshit that you're going to say or that you're going to state? I don't know, right? I mean, some of you were Belinda was going to find out, but it's not that important to me, honestly, because here we have a lot of, Malehi. Come on, man. So, yeah, it's very highly possible that Malaya didn't even feel like writing it herself. And it would be easier, of course, for somebody else to do it for her. I don't know if she did or she didn't, but when somebody misspells their own name, that's a very strong indicator that's not the person who wrote it. a very, very strong indicator, right? So this is the original here from that letter that's said to be written by Malaya Brooks Murray. This, I believe, is her real signature. Yes, but the other stuff, well, it's like a very generic woman's type of handwriting. I don't know what her actual handwriting looks like, even though Belinda said it may look like hers. Hey, house music. Hey, everybody. I'm looking at the chat off and on. Yeah, I also think Malaya's not clever enough to make this type of statement. I agree with you. But there's still some, well, yeah. So thank you to those of you in the member section who pointed this out to me when I haven't even read it. I simply posted it. I posted that statement that supposedly was written by Malaya, but Malaya signed it. And again, I think that Malaya is not clever enough to do all this. Or are there some mistakes in there? I don't know. I think she types better than Daniel, right? She has better grammar. She has better word structure and so on and so on. But help bring my babies home. Someone somewhere knows something. Too much some, right? That's also, believe it or not, this is also a form of avoidance, possibly. It can be. Let's say it like this. But back to the statement from Mr. Martel. I get back to this. So here we say we have, well, everything is not the best. Meadow is going into CPS custody. Malaya is losing her. CPS also turned Arlo and Raina on me. Yeah, of course, that's how he wants to make it appear, right? He wants to appear CPS as the bad guys, right? And I believe that comes very natural to him because they were already onto him before. So CPS, he has a very negative stance towards them. He has negative feelings from way back when towards CPS. Turned Arlo and Raina, his children, on him. Really? They interrogated an 8 and 6-year-old. Well, it's not really an interrogation. I mean, we have seen recently the old footage of Burke Ramsey, right? Children don't get interrogated. They may get manipulated into saying something that they don't want to say anything about because sometimes they've been coached and sometimes they want to protect their own parents. So you don't have somebody shining a light into their faces saying, you better come clean or I'm going to whoop your ass. It's a different way. They are not being interrogated the way Daniel was interrogated. Let's make this clear. Just for clarification purposes, right? And, well, they interrogated. Okay, that's his choice of words. We always have to say in this case, well, this is third-hand knowledge, right? He wasn't there. But he wants us to think there was an interrogation because he wants, or his girlfriend to whom he sent this allegedly, to make it sound like the kids were not being truthful. And I guess they said I abused Jack and Lilly. One fucked up day. Well, wow. Yep, that's a good move, I believe, by the CPS. I believe that's a very, very strong move to make. And even though I don't think it's a good thing to get children involved in any of this unless it's really, really necessary and your last hope, and you don't have anything else to go by, then of course, I mean, you have the right psychologist, the right child psychologist, the right people there on staff. Go for it. But we saw it in the book Ramsey when he was 9 years old or 10 years old. In that interview, we saw that. We saw how he was interviewed. I'm sure they taped everything, and there is no pressure. They're very, very careful. They're very careful. They may, be very analytical when the child speaks and say, wait, didn't you say this, or did you know what I mean? But they don't have interrogation practices where we can assume there was anything where they try to coerce. They want the truth. They want to know, what was the household like? Was there tension in the house? And of course, I'm hearing all the other rumors. I'm hearing all the other things about Jack 2 years ago running away from home. Yeah, but he was 2 years old at the time, right? That would only lead me to think that, yeah, they were so unsupervised. But that was at Patty's house, right? Or was it at Daniel's? Well, either way, I think Malaya, even though Belinda thinks that Malaya was a good mother at one point, I think she always had the tendency to not really be that. I mean, that tells me the kids were not supervised properly. If a 2-year-old runs away, right? I mean, how does a 2-year-old get far away? Maybe I'm missing something here. But again, I'm not really keeping track of the things that good mother, sometimes lazy all of the time. Yeah, I can see that. I think she probably was on her phone. I think she was probably daydreaming and on her phone, just let me see this comment. Yeah, I believe she had the so-called closure of she knows the kids are no longer with us. That's what I believe too. So for her, all the statements really imply that there was a loss and that the loss has been processed. And what we can expect from her from now on is rhetoric. It's not going to be to the point, because there is no point. She is telling us, with the help of others, the things that they believe the public should hear, as meaningless as possible, as many phrases as possible, meaningless phrases. Bring them home. Let's repeat that a dozen times. Bring them home, bring them home. And Katie Proudfoot did the whole same thing again and again. Bring him home, bring him home, bring him home, about Sebastian. And I mean, the ones that, those of you who listened to me back then know that I believe Sebastian Rogers was over-medicated and fell out of bed. But they interrogated an 8 and 6-year-old. Well, I bet you anything, if we watch the footage, they're going to be very gentle with these kids. I know you love your daddy. You like your daddy? Was he nice to you? Was he nice to Jack? Was he nice to... What do you mean? How was he not nice to Jack? When did this happen? Okay, what did Jack do? the people that make these interviews with children, they are very sensitive to their needs. They're very, very careful. But some are good, some are not so good, but they're all very, very careful not to put too much pressure on them. And they're very well aware that most kids do not want to snitch on their parents. Some do, though. If they see their dad abusing their little sister or their own mother, some kids are very happy to snitch on the dad, on the parents. I don't believe he abused his own children necessarily. I don't know how he was with them. Well, maybe he did have some temper outbursts, but I believe Wade Paris when he says he didn't like them kids. He didn't like Jack. So he liked his own children. So if there was physical punishment or anything, or if he ever snapped, it was a lot less than it was with Jack and Lilly, in my opinion. And I do believe these children opened up eventually. I believe they hear a lot from other kids about the case. And I believe they remember things. And I believe they're probably wondering, did my dad hurt them? Of course, this is not enough for us to pinpoint what kind of abuse there was, right? What he's referring to. To what level, to what, how extreme it was. But it's all closing in. And I'm telling you, if it wasn't for Daniel sending this message, none of us would know about this. The RCMP sure didn't say anything about it. And yeah, some of you think and believe, and it's possible that they're continuing to work on the case, but they don't really want to, the public to know anything. I don't know. I really don't. But they're highly deceptive. So now I think actually that they are, generally speaking, not in a hurry to embarrass the CPS. But yep, Daniel is the one who told us. And he is his own worst enemy. There's so much stuff that we know because of him. And I don't think he realizes that. He may realize it after the fact. I think he's the kind of guy who's then all of a sudden thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't keep my mouth shut. I talked too much. But that's exactly how he is. He's an emotional dude. He's the opposite from Malaya, who can just shut off. Just made April. I agree to some extent. He uses a strong word because he tries to discredit CPS. That's why he used the term interrogated. And if you hold Malaya more accountable because she didn't protect her children, personally speaking, I always, even if it's like murder for hire or conspiracy to commit murder, I have just this tendency to expect a much larger sentence for those who actually physically did it. You know what I mean? Not the cowards in the back who are quiet or who even plan for something. But Malaya it's really an insult the way she talks. And I see a lot of these events surrounding the case now as very disrespectful to Jack and Lilly in general. But I have no doubt, yes, they were interviewed, not interrogated. They interviewed an 8 and a 6-year-old. And yeah, dude, because yeah, mom is not going to talk because you know what? Daniel already sent her this warning message, right? When he said, I had to do everything with them. I believe Malaya knew what the kids were going through, but didn't care. So even Logan, when she talks about, it was Meadow, but nothing about Jack and Lilly. That may be her way of blaming Malaya for what Daniel wound up doing. That they were wild with her. That he, from their own view, and that's just me putting myself into their shoes, especially Daniel's, that maybe from his angle, it's like, well, I had to be the one disciplining them. I had to come home because she couldn't handle them. And by the way, did Malaya call or did Janie call to tell you got to come home from work because the kids are out of control? I believe also Janie was a huge instigator. And you know what does abuse mean to you, Daniel? Maybe whatever you did to Jack and Lilly, you felt actually justified to do. Because maybe your mom knew about it, and your mom may have said, these damn kids, what else are you gonna do? Do you think that Janie would have stepped in if she saw Daniel assault Jack? Smacking upside the head so his thumb pad may land in his eye? Do you think that Janie would have said, no, he's a sweet little boy, don't do this? Why do you think she is so adamant to continue bashing Jack and Lilly? Because in their view, the children brought it on themselves. And I don't care how ridiculous it sounds. This is what we need to be able to accept, what their actual view is, and not project how we would feel about Jack and Lilly, or how we would discipline children, or how we would have a talk with them and make some rules and let them know, listen, please don't, sweetheart, don't scream so loud because, whatever it is. But the hatred that Janie expresses towards Jack and Lilly, I believe this same hatred may be what makes her son believe he was justified in how he treated them. Look at Chris Watts. Chris Watts' mother hated his wife. Brian Laundrie, his mother hated what's her name? Gabby Petito. Chris Proudfoot's mother hated Sebastian Rogers. So when Chris Proudfoot took off his belt and beat the living daylights out of Sebastian, he didn't feel bad about it because his mommy was okay with it. Yes, sometimes these mama's boys, they carry out their hatred of their own mother. And they feel okay about it because mommy is okay is okay about it. So even if the whole world will tell you, like the whole world can tell Chris Proudfoot, no, this is excessive punishment for very little that Sebastian did, leaving a backpack in the wrong place or what have you. No, but because my mommy thinks so, and Brian Laundrie too. Peter Heyer talked about it, the strangulation part. He strangled her. The strangulation is often the case when the perpetrator wants to silence the person. So I believe in her last moments, Gabby Petito may have told Brian Laundrie, I'm done with it. I'm not gonna, I'm through with you. Whatever she said, maybe something really insulting. Maybe she just had it, keeping it all inside, right? And she blew up when the uh, murder is executed through strangulation. That often starts with a desire to silence the person, to take her voice away. So when I'm thinking about what happened to Lilly, there's a possibility because they complain about her voice. Janie, I believe, told us exactly how, in her mind, the children brought it all on themselves. Jack was a curious little boy, so yeah, maybe in the kitchen he found something and he gotten into something. Very, very possible. Lily, she was always screaming. Is that what, in your opinion, she did that resulted in her being hurt? Because I'm still wondering about the footprint or the boot print at the pipeline. These things don't leave my mind. I'm still going to get more into that one. But I've talked about this before already. So let me go and see some of you guys' comments. It's a different time today for me. It's not my regular time. I think he knew about that Malaya was thinking of leaving. Yeah, I think, I mean, how does. Hey, Anita. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. You see how. I don't know how Daniel feels towards his mom. He's kind of like the little boy that never left home, right? Kind of broken in a way, man. And Justin got away. Justin is okay. He owns property with his girlfriend up north, and he seems to have it together. But Daniel is sort of stuck there. And no, I haven't seen a picture of that girlfriend he was dating. I only heard A Balance talk about that she's out of his league. And he thinks that maybe that girl was there, the girlfriend was there to spy on Daniel. I don't know. I just heard it. I don't know what to make of it. Yes, Daniel puts himself in the kids' room at midnight with the light on. Then they disappeared. Yeah. Exactly. The light was on at midnight. Yes, that's exactly what it indicates, people. The light was on at What, Daniel? The light was on a little after midnight. Very interesting. Yeah, that light was on at night, people. Give me 1 second. I need a coffee refill, and then I'm gonna get into more of the statements from Susan's channel. So in any other case, I would say, no, there's not going to be a solution. The case will not be solved ever. Daniel will lay low. Eventually, people will forget about things. And, and I stand by what I said about the RCMP or politicians. They may not be interested in having a political scandal because the household is a poster child for a home that children should be removed from. So what is CPS there for? If they don't remove Jack and Lilly from a house that on every single level, a household that should be unacceptable to raise two little children, unacceptable. I believe that, when the case is solved, if it gets solved, there will be a huge outcry over CPS failure. And the politicians, they know it. So this is a very sensitive issue to them. However, if Daniel keeps being the one who brings things up, if he is yapping, they have no choice but to get a little more into it and say, well, let's do damage control. But, Daniel is telling the public one way or the other, right? He messages a girl or whatever, and then gets leaked. But one way or the other, he's responsible for leaking things that they had no intention to leak. So when I see Daniel's pattern, I'm thinking, dude, he is not going to be able to be silent. By the way, look, Daniel knows how to spell her name, but whoever prepared the document or the note from Malaya, forgot the A. Nice try. But I believe the signature, at least the signature on the bottom, that's from her. Either way, this is the one that, this is a statement where I'm just baffled by him being his own worst enemy. This dude, oh my goodness, man. Oh my gosh. He's doing everything that a lawyer would tell him not to do. Everything. Unreal. Unfreaking real, people. So yeah, I believe there's a chance the case will be solved, and probably because of something that Daniel's going to say. I don't know. Send me a picture of the girlfriend. I want to see who she is. I want to see what he's talking about. A balance, what he was talking about. And he said she's so out of his league that she was sent to spy on him. Who knows? No, I'm not going to believe or disbelieve it either way. Unreal, people. Unfreaking real. Yeah, something happened. The lights were on. Maybe, you know what? Maybe at one point the lights were out and the kids were supposed to go to sleep, but Jack was in the kitchen rustling around. Maybe they were looking for food. Maybe they were hungry. Maybe, who knows, right? I believe they were left on their own a lot, to where they just walked through the kitchen and looked. I believe. You think Malaya made 3 meals a day on Thursday? Yeah, they went out to eat somewhere, right? Okay. So they had maybe some pizza or something. But yeah, I believe it's very likely that Jack gotten into something. And Lilly wouldn't stop screaming. So, yep. Listen, this is, my goodness. This statement, people, I don't know the backstory, but feel free to fill me in. I'm going to check my messages to anything about, who that person was and who reported Daniel to CP. Let me see your messages here. He picked on Jack. Never forget this. Never forget this, people. Never forget it. Never forget their original statements. No matter how hard they try to overshadow them with something new. Holy mackerel. Okay, I'm going to see my messages now. Okay, I got one message that I may want to look at right now. Give me 1 second, people. And this always happens whenever I am on my live. That's when all the messages come in, guys. And they all come in all at once. So I'm going to check out what I... Okay, you mean the Drunk Turkey show last night?
You only need 100 hours.
120.44 timestamp. I don't know what I'm looking at here.
Is a witness to that event. So there's two people that are saying that. So to me, if one of them is involved, both of them have to be involved if it's something nefarious, don't you think?
Is it this one?
Not technically, but I see what you're saying. I definitely see what you're saying. I definitely, I'm not like debating against him particularly. It's just against like some of the theories that that it couldn't be him. I don't know. I still find something off with him. It could just be the neglect.
I find her completely worthless, to be honest. I mean, in terms of, I don't need her to, but I don't know what I'm listening
And
here.
maybe because I have a specialization in marriage and family therapy, I like react to his.
She's praising herself way too much rather than just getting into the case, right? So she feels a need to give herself credibility.
Being a bad boyfriend, like maybe I'm getting like a visceral response to that, but I will absolutely be 100% an adult and a professional, and I will reflect on why am I doing this so that I can at least know for myself why that is, because it could be something like my expert.
What is this? I don't know what I'm looking at. Taylor, is that her name, the girlfriend?
Or just a reaction.
Yeah, no, you're right. And like I said, I think what you're picking up on is that the guy is a pretty...
But thing is, Major Crimes knows he abuses you. He abuses you. I told them that. Yep, you fucked up. I don't know what I'm looking at here.
douchey boyfriend. And I think you're picking up on the fact that he's controlling and that he, from what I understand, and this is what Taylor told me, and some of the things that I have heard as far as accusations coming from Malaya's side is that Daniel tried to isolate these women, as far as not allowing them to have males on their social media, and was jealous.
Okay, I want to see the whole message here.
If it's something nefarious, don't you think?
Maybe because I have a specialization in marriage and family therapy, I react to his.
Wait, let me read your comments. I don't know what the hell I'm listening to here.
Being a bad boyfriend, maybe I'm getting a visceral response to that, but I will absolutely be 100% an adult and a professional, and I will reflect on why am I doing this so that I can at least know for myself why that is, because it's my expertise or just a reaction.
Yeah, no, you're right. And like I said, I think what you're picking up on is that the guy is a pretty douchey boyfriend. And I think you're picking up on the fact that he's controlling and that he, from what I understand, and this is what Taylor told me, and some of the things that I have heard as far as accusations coming from Alea's side is that Daniel tried to isolate these women, as far as not allowing them to have males on their social media, and was jealous, controlling in that aspect, and maybe even perhaps isolate from their families, which is all big red flags. 100.
And I agree that isolation process was definitely a part of his mojo. And I believe that Daniel also knew that, if the girlfriends continue talking with all their female friends and some of them, the messages between Daniel and his girlfriend, or so-called girlfriend, gotcha. But I do believe that, am I still visible? I think so. I believe that this is very, very true. Daniel probably realized that some of the girls that he dated or women that he dated, he would say, if she has friends, they would say, what the hell are you living in this trailer with this dude? What the heck is going on here? You know what I'm saying? Is my video not working or what? I have no clue. Let me see. That's why I love doing lives, but I hate it too. Okay, I got you. Yeah, this is, listen, guys. Daniel seems like a likable dude at times, right? But a lot of these likable dudes, when the door closes, the whole thing changes, man. The whole scenario changes. And people oftentimes, they have neighbors, friends, have no idea and would be shocked to see how they really act in their own four walls. And you put Janie into the mix, constantly complaining about, okay, let me listen a little bit more. Let me not judge so quickly here.
%. 100%.
That doesn't mean you're a murderer, though. There's a ton of people that do this. You know what I mean? That are just bad boyfriend or girlfriends.
Exactly. So let's.
We are not talking about labeling here, by the way, and saying here, this is a murder. What we are talking about is how things can lead up to an event that is a crime. So we are not talking about labeling people, murderer, not murderer, but we're looking at situations that can potentially end up in something really, really bad. What would have happened if, when he took Malea's phone away, what would have happened if she stood up for herself and her children and said, you're letting me go right now? Maybe if she picked up a knife and said, you're not going to touch me again. I'm leaving you. I'm done with you. Those are usually the most dangerous situations, when somebody is breaking away from the abusive relationship, which I believe this was. I'm always looking into the direction of what can this turn into if it doesn't stop. What happens when she stops being the doormat? How will it escalate then? What is the potential of things going wrong here? And I've always said it from the very beginning. You know what? When Malaya saw, well, first of all, she realized, I have family here and friends that I haven't seen in a long time who care about me. And there's this dude who wants me back in his trailer. And here are these people who say, you're worth much more than this. And she realized, you know what, there are cops everywhere. Daniel cannot touch me. He cannot take my phone away now. He cannot restrain me, right? So for me, labels like murderer, I look at the actions, not the label. I know it's popular to use labels, but for me, I'm looking at the potential. And Malaya, you know, she was easy to control. And I knew that since the first time I heard Logan speak, when she made the decisions for Malaya. You're coming with us. Your daughter's coming with us. And you can come too. But the bottom line is that, you know, yeah, I knew already through Logan's statement how abusive and how controlled this household was. Janie, of course, was in control of everything. That is the one woman that Daniel couldn't intimidate. I believe Janie made sure to let everybody know this is my property. What I say goes. But Janie also knew that, you know, if she says, you know, Jack and Lilly have to go, maybe Malaya will go. And Daniel doesn't want this to happen. And, you know, extra money from the government. This is a horrible situation, people. But let's listen a little bit more.
Go into this. So this is Taylor. This is the girlfriend for Daniel. Again, she contacted me a long time ago, and she basically wanted to find out information and find out if Daniel was capable of committing a crime. That was her sole intention. She talks about it here as well.
If this is true, and his own girlfriend has this question, then there's a reason that she, you know, thinks along those lines. Because if you have a real relationship with somebody, I would much more expect that person to say no, or that the woman has absolutely, she cannot imagine the possibility of her boyfriend doing something to two children. Even when there's evidence, a lot of partners, they will stick with their partner and say, I don't care. I believe in him. He's good to me. But the fact that Taylor reached out to him, that is, you know, that needs to be noted, people. That needs to be, that is a huge sensitivity at the very, very least.
Talks about how she started to like him, even though that wasn't the plan. That was never the plan. I mean, she's very honest about it. So these are some of the screenshots that
I don't know about that. I don't know what she's honest about and what she isn't honest about. How did they meet? I want to know that. Is she an online fan of his? Does she see him in interviews all the time and say he's hot or he's interesting and or I want to, I don't know. Shit, man. I mean, remember the 90s when, I don't know, maybe you're too young, but when they had all of these women on these talk shows that are in love with these serial killers behind bars and want to marry them. And I don't know what the infatuation is, but it always happens. Even with Brian Koberger, right? That suddenly he has a female, he couldn't get laid, was a crap before, but all of a sudden, all these women, you know, not all these women, it's not that many, but there are, you know, so I don't know.
she sent. Now, this is the first thing that I saw, and I was like, whoa. And as you can see, the first thing I said is, and then I go, oh, they're fake, because she says, those pictures are fake. I have the originals, same as the originals from September 25th.
Yeah, she wants attention, man. There's something really wrong with this. There's something really wrong with it, which is why I haven't paid attention to it. But I'm already there, so, you know, she's faking. She's doing a fake picture of herself with a black eye, and saying I have the original. What kind of crap is that, man? Crazy.
Got scared because I found out he was talking to other women, and I wouldn't listen to his lies. And so this is what happened. Taylor manipulated Daniel by showing him pictures of her with bruises.
Yeah.
And saying that her ex-boyfriend or ex-partner had caused those bruises.
Okay.
And this was in an attempt to get him to open up to her, as far as her saying she was an abuse victim.
Wow.
What do you think about that, first and foremost? Somebody manipulating somebody else by utilizing fake bruise pictures to get them to open up.
I think it's an absolute horrible thing to do to someone. And I'm not, and because this is the thing, we tell people to believe people when.
Yeah, this is turning into such a shit show, man. And I can't believe, like, okay. Let me go back to this, but go back to now 43:55 timestamp. What am I looking at?
If you summoned your soulmate using this technique, this is how quickly you would meet. This is my soulmate's.
Shut up.
Neglect, which I cannot argue back. If you want to say, hey, they should have been watching them, they got out of the house and they wandered off and that was their responsibility, I bow down. You're absolutely right. As much as I think that there's a human factor to those type of things, like
what am I listening
to? A scrapyard and a soccer field, and he just so happened to get into a school where school found him, and this was 2 years ago.
Who said that? I'm not surprised. I think that
apparently, I just found out, and I'm getting this. I'm trying to pull the report myself, but Jack, this wasn't the first time he ran away. Jack had ran away and went through a.
What do you mean it wasn't the first time? This wasn't the first time. He didn't run away. You know what I mean? That's why I rather not listen. I do it now on request for a little bit. But this time he did not run away, right? Let's make this very clear. Back then, yes.
Scrapyard and a soccer field, and he just so happened to get into a school where school found him, and this was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
How old was he then?
2.
So how was he gone that long and nobody noticed?
I think they did. They just couldn't find him. He went through the backyard, got out, went through a scrapyard, then went through a soccer field. This is while they were living, I believe, with Patty.
Even though Belinda says that Malaya was a good mother, I think she was always a lazy mother.
Isn't that more of a reason?
CBS filed a report on it. There's reports, and I'm waiting to get those reports.
Isn't that more of a reason, though, to make sure that everything's locked up and gated? And
I agree 100%, but this also is an indication that because
okay, enough of this part. Let me go back. What was it? Let me see a timestamp here. Okay, they were living at Patty's house before going to Janie's property. Jack ran off at 2 and Lilly was accused of hair pulling. Jack ran away. Nobody noticed. A 2-year-old got out. He got pretty far. Yeah. But I don't believe this is the case now.
From September 25th. He got scared because I found out he was talking to other women, and I wouldn't listen to his lies. And so this is what happened. Taylor.
By the way, is this interesting to you guys? I guess it is, right? To some degree, at least. Hey, Barents is here. Hey. Hi, Barents. I listened to you earlier. I just didn't. What do you think, guys? Do you think, how did they meet? What was her deal? Did she hook up with Daniel just to find out what happened to Jack and Lilly? Knowing Daniel's weakness, that he falls into the honey trap, like AB called it earlier. You know, it's easy. Yeah, it sounds like it, man. Maybe she wants attention. Maybe she is the type of person who just, I don't know. Yeah, but maybe she sought him out. Who knows? Because, I mean, things change when you have a certain presence. You understand? When you have a presence in the media, when people get to know you, and suddenly people who are not that interesting become more interesting to others. And maybe she wanted to figure out what happened to Jack and Lilly and said, you know what, I'm going to hook up with him and see what I can find out. But it's just weird to show him a picture, a fake picture with a black eye, saying a boyfriend did it in order to get Daniel to open up. Yeah, I'm a little bit lost in this part because I didn't pay attention to it. I didn't listen to the show until now. But I do agree that the personality part of Daniel's, that he does have the tendency to probably want to isolate female partners from their friends, because their friends are likely going to ask, what are you doing with him in his trailer? Or what are you you know what I mean? He wants, you know, he was threatened. He probably feels threatened by his partner's friends. Because they may say, you know, you can do better. This is all really weird, man. Let me listen just a little bit more.
Manipulated Daniel by showing him pictures of her with bruises and saying that her ex-boyfriend or ex-partner had caused those bruises. And this wasn't an attempt to get him to open up to her, as far as her saying she was an abuse victim. What do you think about that, first and foremost? Somebody manipulating somebody else by utilizing fake bruise pictures to get them to open up.
I think it's an absolute horrible thing to do to someone. And I'm not, you know, and because this is the thing, we tell people to believe people when they say that they've been victimized. So then, which is another reason that I said to you, this is like...
No, I don't. Well, I give them the benefit of the doubt, but I let them talk me out of it also. So nobody can tell me what to believe and not believe.
Oh, like this also is a red flag to me. Why would someone first off say that they want to be with somebody that they say they don't want to be with because they want to find out the truth of things? But like, what is the motive behind that? And then two, what would be the motive behind faking pictures like this that could destroy someone else's life?
I want to lose 20 kilos for wedding. Do you know your fasting time?
Shut up.
No.
100%. 100%. Now, Daniel threatens her. She said, and what I mean by threaten is going to RCMP.
But thing is, man.
Because the thing is, Major Crimes knows he abuses you. And I think this is him attempting to stop her from going back to the ex.
Yeah.
Right? This
So he
isn't-
called major crimes clearly because
He likes to be the hero. Even when he first met Malaya and she gotten out of a difficult relationship, he is the hero. He's kind of like able to get women who are just coming out of an abusive relationship. So that's when he becomes the good guy, the nice guy, right? The boy next door, the non-threatening type, right? That's sort of a persona that he knows that he has. That's why I think he is so comfortable getting in front of the camera. And he feels, okay, everything points towards me with Jack and Lilly, but let me go in front of the camera and let me do what worked for me before. Let me be, let me be this nice guy. The guy who people will say there is no way he could have done this. He has confidence in himself, right? He comes off differently than, let's say, Chris Proudfoot. I don't believe Chris Proudfoot murdered Sebastian Rogers, but he was a major abuser. And that's how he comes off. So Chris Proudfoot, seeing him, people, I believe it was Katie that did something, that over-medicated him. Not Chris, but people, even Peter Hyatt in the beginning, focused a lot on Chris, and that's also a dangerous thing. And I love to learn from people's mistakes because it keeps me from making them. It helps me learn less from my own mistakes that I'm avoiding as best that I can. But when, for example, Peter Hyatt talked about how he, one time he mentioned that he was beaten as a child. And when he hears a belt, he still has that memory, right? He said that in one of his videos. So I'm not, he said it in public, so I'm not doxing anything. So he, for example, got also very much into analyzing Chris Proudfoot. And I believe that who was overlooked for the most part was Katie Proudfoot, right? Because Chris Proudfoot, I believe, on purpose took the heat to overshadow the one person who was there and did something criminal, which I believe was over-medicating Sebastian Rogers. And then I believe he fell out of bed and got severely injured. And then the car pulled up at 3 a.m. And that's how he was removed. But, I made a lot of videos about that. So anybody interested can re-listen to them. I don't want to, I love to use examples. And Peter Hyatt talked also about one case where a woman falsely accused her boyfriend of rape. I hate using these politically correct words, but because of a pronoun, he had doubts in the story. And then he talked to the woman and she admitted that she made it up because the boyfriend broke up with her. So when she says, we are told to believe every single victim, every victim story, no, that's not what we do. You know what I mean? And most people may do that, but there's absolutely we cannot allow ourselves to do that. But what we can do is listen to a victim and realize that there's nothing that stands out. And then we keep on listening, and then we believe. When there's no leakage, when the priorities are straight, there's no avoidance, the intentions seem pure, and there's no deception and no significant sensitivities. So by the absence of the plaids, warning signs, we allow ourselves to go along with the story. So the journey goes along with the person who speaks. But the moment that something isn't adding up, we have to doubt the story, right? We got to be neutral in the beginning. We cannot allow ourselves to say, okay, well, I had similar experiences. No. Everything is different, right? And that's, again, what I'm going to talk more about in the future. And I wrote a lot about when it comes to giving more of a, wait, let me pull this up. More of an example. I will share this in the member section, by the way. And we can read through it together, and I will make another video on this too. But we need to be able to clear our minds, guys. We have to clear our minds and assume the person is telling us the truth, and we listen to it. It doesn't matter if we like the person or not, right? Just because we like them doesn't mean they didn't do something. And just because we dislike them, so, and I saw a lot of these mistakes made when a lot of people think, well, Malaya didn't even know what he was doing. No. She knew what he was doing. I believe she knew exactly what happened that night, and she gotten to the point where she just didn't care. And as for Jack walking away, she was on her phone. She was, who knows, that's who she is. Very negligent to the point where, when I believe Daniel abused Jack and Lilly, she didn't even try. She didn't even try to help. I'm missing so many comments, but man, this is a really, really free range kids. Yeah. Look, this actually aligns with Daniel Martel and what he said, that the kids were wild with her. She had no control over them, but she didn't try to have control over them. That's my problem, right? She didn't try to protect them, and she didn't try to take care of them either. That the 2-year-old can, you guys had 2-year-old children. Your kids were 2 at one point. How far how far could they have gotten? And what was this Lilly hair pulling? Whose hair did Lilly pull? Jack's hair? Okay, let's listen to this.
He said, I told him that.
Exactly. And so he says, you effed up. No, you did. It's all fake. No, it's true. But I go with what is real. And this is Daniel sending her the screenshots that he has of her with bruises to her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And just when he goes, he threatened me with CPS. Those pictures are fake. And she has this picture here. Uh-huh. She's like, this is why I make sure I keep the originals. It looks like a damn bruise to me. All right, September 11th, 2025, 3:03 p.m. September 11th, 2025, 11:51 a.m. And then she has some bruises here. Now, I freaking can't tell whether or not these are real or not because of what she's done.
There's another picture it's a picture of her. So the picture.
This case is just full of, where did Malaya search? Nowhere, man. She probably didn't notice until very late. He gotten very far. Jack hadn't gotten very far. It took Malaya a very long time to realize he was even gone. Let's make no mistake about that one.
That you showed with the bruising, the first one, there's a picture of her. I could text it to you real quick, of her without the bruising. It's the exact same.
Oh, no, I have them.
You have it. So I think that one shows that she did, in fact, because we're saying, oh, they kind of look like they could be real. But if you look at that other picture and then put it next to this one, like you said, you're reading the metadata would tell us, is it the same day? And if it is, that is a terrible thing to do to someone, to fake that. And my thing is, the only reason then that she would have admitted that to him is because he now called, the authority on her to tell her that she doesn't go back to her boyfriend, which then makes more sense to me. But that's just not cool on his part either. Like, I feel like they're both playing dirty here.
Yeah, they are. They very much are. And this is what I told my mods, because I've talked to some of my mods about these pictures. So you play stupid games, You win stupid prizes. Both of these guys are getting their stupid prize right now. 100%, my opinion. You play stupid games, you get a stupid prize. So this is a video she sent me because I was kind of like, are you sure they're fake? Because I was thinking Daniel did something. Like I thought he did something. I was like, are you sure they're fake? They look pretty real. And she sends me this video here.
What's better after 50, Gwen? Gym or Tai Chi?
Wait.
One builds ego, the other.
Which is it?
So maybe I will go into the other drunk turkey part where he talks about, where he talks to Daniel. Maybe I'll go back to this interview a little bit, man, because I really, really want to make sure I don't miss a thing, right? Unless this is interesting to you guys. I know it's the talk of the day, right? This is kind of the hot topic right now, which, you know, for me, here's the thing. None of this is going to give me too many answers. None of it, you know what I mean? Let me see where the interview was. Oh God, where was I? When was that? Exclusive interview with Daniel? Oh, here we go.
And so
because I know this is this is the talk of the day, guys. I understand that. Okay, then I'll go back there and listen to it more. This comes later.
Actually, during the interrogation at the Stalker Dispatch.
Yeah. Wait. Okay, how she got the bruising with AI? Okay, I listened to it. If that's what you guys are cool with, that's what I'm gonna do. You know? Let's do it.
This is her doing this, not me.
That's infuriating. I didn't see this. That's infuriating.
Believe me, in the future, there will be no such thing as photographic evidence anymore, man. You will not know what to believe and what not, unless you are very intuitive and able to differentiate, you know, and some people will, I believe, always be able to tell things easily, but most people will not. So, yeah.
Why would someone do that?
I don't know.
And by the way, never ask yourself why. Never get stuck with why would somebody do it. Just know that some people do. You know what I mean? This is a waste of time to me to ask myself, why would somebody do this? Well, gee, I can give you hundreds of examples where, you know, you would say, why do people do that? But then you get stuck there and say, maybe he didn't, and it can't be. Can it be? No, you need to let the facts come to you. When you analyze something, you got to be ready for anything, any lie, anything, no matter how outrageous it may seem.
Wow. That is such a messed up thing to do to someone.
And then she sent me these images that have these bruises, but as you can see, these are the images that were taken the same day that she made the fake one. So I can't tell you whether they're real or not.
I guess that's my thing, right? Like, it's a shame because I do believe that she was a victim of some sort, and maybe not of his, but like, you know, she clearly is having a hard time right now. So we all have to remember that, right? So
No, not necessarily. Making excuses for people is also not a good idea at all. Or assuming that she's going through something, not a good idea. So that's why I'm also careful with someone like her making you know, certain kind of statements. And that's the danger when you go into the whole, why would somebody do that? Then the excuses come. Well, maybe she's going through such a hard time right now. This is nonsense talk, people. I mean, this is really nonsense talk.
I want to be careful of that.
It gets worse though. Like she talks like here recently, right before she got hospitalized, was like, I miss him.
Because that tells me that she was probably traumatized at some point in her life. Because what happens is when we're traumatized, when we're younger, we wind up associating that trauma with love, especially when it's by somebody that...
Yeah, you know what? She's talking about herself now, her own childhood trauma. And this is also something that I don't like about cases like these, where people make it all about themselves, right? It happened in the case of Sebastian Rogers, that suddenly everybody's talking about their own situations, how things were for them, right? And the victims get lost. Jack and Lilly get lost in all of this, completely lost. That's why I didn't pay attention to it before. That's why I'm going to move right back to Daniel Martel, because if anything, this can teach us, you know, what I've said many, many times. There's a reason I don't pay attention to it. I mean, yeah, I did earlier when I listened to A Balance, and of course I was curious. But here, apparently, are more statements that, well, it seems boring now, right? It seems boring now to do this after... One of you put this all together for me. And by the way, he's saying Jack was sleeping a little after midnight. So a little bit after midnight, time-wise, that's the time reference. He flicked on the lights and looked. I think I got all of that. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it, if you think it's interesting or entertaining with this woman, but this psychologist, it's too much like, okay, when we get traumatized and this and blah, 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 blah. I don't, you know, I tune out very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. And make no mistake, a lot of psychologists, they get into the field because they want to find answers for themselves. That's why it's interesting for them, you know? Should I listen to it more or not? Is it interesting to you guys? Yes or no? See, I want to know now. Just say yes or no. Is this interview interesting to you? Yes or no? Just tell me honestly how you feel. Okay. I'm starting to get it. It's not to me. The vast majority says no. Is there anything more coming up that's interesting to the person who just sent me this? Is there anything else that's going to be eye-opening? I mean, feel free to send me like a timestamp if you think there's something. But so far, I think it is only, other than the fact that DT is admitting that he thinks Daniel is controlling. It's actually, I don't need Drunk Turkey Show to tell me that Daniel was controlling. I mean, I knew that from the moment that I analyzed Logan's first statements, her first interview. I knew from that moment how controlling Daniel is, right? So I don't need her to tell me anything.
We actually went over a lot of the stuff we already did, just so they could cross-reference, right?
And how long were you out there for at the dispatch?
What was that?
How long did that interview take? Was it a couple of hours?
The original one, sitting in the major crimes van with them, that was about 45 minutes to an hour. And then, but the actual interrogation, if you want to call it, at the Stoics and Dispatch, that one was almost 4 hours.
Jeez, that's extensive. And so you walk in there.
Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Talk and chat. I actually wanted to do some Janie. Let me see. Yeah, I don't understand why so many. Yeah, so Daniel knows he's being watched. His every move is being watched. So stalking Malaya, he knows that wouldn't be a good idea. You know? That's why later on he talks about what he talks about. Let me see if I can get to it again.
Stop waiting and start dating. Are
Oh
you
my God.
talking to me, singles in Japan? No.
What the hell?
Because literally they were right outside the end of the house, like by the bedroom. They were just walking around, you know. So,
Yeah.
and then I walked up to them. I said, "Hey, you know, can I walk up to you and the dog?" Right?
Yeah.
Being respectful, obviously.
Yeah. And did they allow you to walk with them throughout the search?
Yeah, I did walk with them for some of it, but then I was like, I don't want to get in the way. They were asking me where they should search and stuff like that. So
Where they should. What? They asked you where they should search with the dogs?
I just told them, do whatever you need to do. There's the beaver pond out back. There's some marsh right beside the house. Like these are wetland areas, so the ground's much softer, right?
Yeah.
So I figured, you know what I mean? Those might be good places to start for them.
Because the ground is softer? Let me go back to this from the beginning. Impound fees, okay, about the car, here we go.
Of course, it's one of the most difficult jobs you'll ever do.
Yeah, and if they did have autism and
Wait.
To learn more about dealing with their behaviors.
So it had nothing to do with a black eye?
No.
Oh,
visited
interesting.
by CPS and things.
Wait.
Involuntary, right? Because she's the mother of them. That Daniel, you can go meet him around back. Go to the back door. Major Crimes Headquarters is.
Yeah.
So
how are things with Meadow? How are your visitations going?
My visits with Meadow are going pretty good. there's not really much I can say other than that with all the court stuff. I mean, I don't have another court hearing for almost like 3 months, I think. So.
And have you spoken with Malaya since any of this has happened?
Yes, I did. I did one time.
How did that go?
Actually, there was twice. First time, when she was on the run with Meadow, fled to the reserve when she wasn't being supervised. Darren called me and said Malaya's unsupervised. So then I called Malaya's phone from my aunt's phone because I was at my uncle's at the time. I used my aunt's phone.
So Malaya would answer.
Called Malaya's phone. Malaya picked up, and I could tell from the background that she was in a moving vehicle. So Darren was correct on that. And so then I called major crimes investigators, and I said, Malaya's on the run with Meadow. And they said, there's nothing we can do, Daniel. You got to call CPS for that. Troy called CPS, but they were already closed. And it was actually Cindy, her own mother, which called CPS on Malaya, which had Meadow removed.
Are we sure? Why would she do that? I mean, yeah, the law is the law, but he knows better to be careful, not to stalk her. So Cindy called CPS on Malaya because she was on the run. Listen how he always brings Darren in to prove that he's right about certain things. This is very important to him, to make Darren appear credible. Because the seed he's planting is, well, everything, Darren is right about everything. Darren, I mean. He needs to be believed. He wants Darren to be believed.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so
that's something new that the public probably doesn't know.
And what?
So what state of mind would Cindy be in? Does Cindy know or think? Well, I believe Cindy thinks about along the same lines as Wade. So whatever Wade has told us, I believe that's how him and his girlfriend Cindy Murray talked to each other. Off the record, away from the cameras, away from the microphones. And maybe Cindy had some worries that Malaya was alone with Meadow and doesn't think that she is in the position to be responsible enough to take care of Meadow. Okay, she would have to report it, right? Yeah. Because she's a nurse. Yeah, I know that about Tint. I know. Yeah, Grandel, I go along the same lines. I think even though she had to report it, legally speaking, I believe there is more to it. I do believe also there's a good chance that actually Cindy at the moment thought, I need to protect Meadow because they have a clear idea what happened to Jack and Lilly and don't want this there to be a repeat. And as a nurse, she would have to report these types of things, right? She wouldn't be able to be, considered reliable in this line of work if she doesn't. So I look at these two different aspects that she says, well, I'm a nurse, and if they find out I know about it and do nothing about it, then I'll be in deep crap. And it's not going to be any good for anybody. But I also believe that she probably thought along the same lines like Wade. She is a duty to report, yeah, but I believe that's not only it. She's a mandated reporter, absolutely. Which doesn't mean she isn't concerned as well. Thinking along the same lines as her boyfriend. She was legally supervising Malea's custody of Meadow. Got it.
Ended up resulting. What happened? Did CPS find her, pick her up?
CPS went.
But why don't you tell us, Daniel, why Malaya cannot have Meadow, and why it took so long for you to be able to visit, right? And why can't you visit your own two children who now, according to you, say you abused Jack and Lilly? And in your statement, you tried to make it sound like they were interrogated. So you're blaming CPS for what? For coercing them? For putting things into their heads? Or for being rough with them? Interrogating? It's a very strong word. What are you trying to make us think? That they put your children into a dark room and shined a flashlight in their faces and said, you better talk about what your dad did to Jack and Lilly? No, man. That's not how they do things. But that's the seed. Daniel is a seed planter. He likes to plant seeds that grow into more. And he's encouraged by the success of Darren. I didn't give him the time of day, but everybody else did. And then, all of a sudden, people talked about Darren. Now people talk about this girlfriend of his and the black eyes. Yeah, I'm guilty of getting into it a little bit. But that's it. That's not going to help us figure out what happened to Jack and Lilly. So I don't need to watch an hour and a half interview with some dime a dozen psychologist who wants to talk about herself and her own trauma. I don't need that. That's not the information I'm looking for. That's not going to help me. That's not going to give us answers. And there's nothing that she's saying that we don't already know. So statement analysis, I trust a lot more than the opinions of an average psychologist, even a top psychologist, because, the more you learn, the more you realize, A, how much we don't know, and B, how little others know as well. But the deeper we get into the statements, the more we learn. And those things that we learn are either 100% or very, very close to that. And the danger of bringing in our own life experience, oh, I've been through this. Oh, I had this trauma. Oh, my ex was like that. Oh my God. No, man, every case is different. Preconceived notions kill statement analysis. And they are the reason that people go into all types of different directions and lose themselves completely. And they are usually the ones who share the most. They love to share this kind of stuff because it also enables them to talk about themselves. I've been through this. Oh my God, I know what Malaya gone through. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but that's not about Jack and Lilly. You know what I mean? Because Malaya, as a grown-up, had a choice. And I say it again and again. And I say it to women who, try to get me to comment on certain subject matters. I always say, let's be very, very clear. Let's be very, very clear. Even though domestic violence is a serious subject, violence against children is much more serious to me because they don't have a choice, right? We may make bad decisions in relationships. We may get ourselves into a situation, but we are grown-ups. We can make our own decisions. So yeah, empowering people to make the right decisions is important. However, Jack and Lilly didn't have a choice. They didn't have a choice to say, this is not going anywhere. Mom, we're moving. Let's go. No, Jack and Lilly couldn't say that. So when it comes, so it's always very important for me to differentiate when people say, I know what they've been through. I know the situation. I've been there. No, you haven't. You haven't been where Jack and Lilly were because they were stuck in this chaotic household, not taken care of. So I make a very big difference between adult victims of domestic abuse and children. A huge difference to me, right? So this woman, this psychologist, I don't hear her talk about Jack and Lilly so far. It's all about, domestic abuse. And so that's not what we're here for, right?
To her father's house, along with RCMP, I do believe, and they actually took Meadow out of her care while she was at Henry's.
Gotcha.
Okay. So she was at Henry Brooks' house, her father's house, and CPS came and took Meadow away.
And Meadow's been in CPS with CPS since?
The question remains, why, Daniel? Why? Why? You want to tell us about that? I'm pretty sure you have a good idea.
She's in foster care.
Gotcha. And are there any, is there an end result in that? Do you guys think that she'll be in foster care for much longer?
Not sure at the moment. I mean, there's so many moving parts in this, Daniel. I'm not sure, especially with Jack and Lilly being missing in that case, because they're Malaya's children. CPS.
Yeah, but the documents say it's not a criminal investigation, right?
Yes, it has them included into the court case. Like they have them included in the court case because it's involuntary, right? Because she's the mother of them. She's connected to Meadow, so they're automatically.
Major avoidance here. He doesn't want to tell us the real reason why she cannot have Meadow. He's avoiding that. And you know what? When it comes to Meadow, Daniel and Malaya are of the same mindset. And I believe that the priority for them, that's the common denominator they have right now, the only common denominator.
Seen in the court case.
Are there any stipulations that you have?
Just because you separate from your partner doesn't mean CPS comes in. But that's exactly what he wants us to think.
You forced to take any drug tests or anything like that?
This forbidden soulmate sketch technique was banned by other psychic artists, but I still use it.
Drug tests, and I have to do therapy.
Yeah.
Psychological exam.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we have? There's so many things.
Yeah.
I mean, I have meetings with my lawyer. That takes time too for that.
Oh, he has a lawyer now. Okay, I didn't know that. Well, I don't know when he left the statement. I mean, that lawyer, okay. I'm pretty sure the only thing this lawyer is telling him, shut the hell up. Stop talking online. Imagine being his lawyer. Oh my God.
That case.
And I'm assuming since you're still meeting with her that you're passing all these things, drug test, everything's passing.
Yeah. I do all that. I tried to do as much as I can. I even asked.
Are you passing? I do all that. Yeah. I do. This is not very reliable, is it?
Too for that case.
And I'm assuming since you're still meeting with her that you're passing all these things, drug test, everything's passing.
So the question is, he passing everything? His answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do all that. I tried to do as much as I can. I even asked them the other day. We had a private conference with the lawyers, and there was a lawyer from the ministry for foster care and my caseworkers. And I asked them if there's anything extra they can do. They said, no, not right now. It's just like, you already have like enough on your plate right now. Just keep up doing that stuff. Because, most days, Daniel, I'm pretty busy.
Yeah.
Doing what exactly, dude? What are you busy with? He's on his best behavior, yeah. For sure. Being Daniel's lawyer is like being an endless supply of toilet paper. I don't know if it's a custody lawyer. Tweaking is a lot of work. Oh my God. Oh, geez, man.
So, speaking of CPS, there's been a lot of speculation about the kids having been visited by CPS and things of that nature. Can you clear that up? I
will actually clear that up. I cleared it up many times online, but there's still.
Okay. So now he's asked about CPS. Can you clear it up? So now he says, I cleared it up many times online. No, you haven't, right? So don't expect major avoidances right now, because you haven't cleared up anything. But referring to what he has done in the past, allegedly, is the same way for him, like referring to these damn documents where the majority is blacked out. It means limit yourself. Limit your knowledge to what is in the documents and whatever crap I stated before, to try to avoid talking about the real issue with CPS here.
People that seem to have misconceptions on that. So CPS actually did come to the house, and that was about Jack and Lily's behavior.
Blaming the victim about Jack and Lily's behavior. That's why CPS came to your house, right? Right.
Especially at school.
Okay, and
then they were about to be diagnosed with.
And nothing flows right now. So he's now thinking about, how should I word this? It's also an avoidance, because normally his pattern, he flows. When he has nothing to hide, he flows. And the flow is being interrupted at this very particular moment. Wait a minute, let me do something real quick. This dude is something else, man. This dude is something else. They were about to be diagnosed with?
Or be sent for the diagnosis of autism.
They were about to be diagnosed with or have got to be sent for the diagnosis of autism. Makes no sense right here. Gotcha, dude.
Or the school wanted that, and me and Malaya.
They were? What were you going to say? They were. The school wanted that. What do you mean? Remember what I say when there's a sentence that doesn't make any sense? There's a big possibility that it was going to be something completely different, guys. But he does stop himself, self-censors, thinks about it, and of course he likes to go back into the whole, I have said this before, you just didn't listen. Selling his own nonsense, trying to reheat the same old nonsense. That's what he's trying to do right now. I hope my connection is okay. Give me a second. I gotta look something up here.
Wanted that as well. The main reason why CPS came out is that
The rain, main reason. What happened in the rain, dude? What happened in the rain, Daniel? You keep on slipping. Let's hear it.
Give us phone numbers and give us some instruction and who can we go to learn more about dealing with their behaviors.
Okay. So the problem is Jack and Lilly. Thank you, Lynn. The problem is Jack and Lilly. Got it, dude. Their behavior, something is wrong with them. Yes, both you and your mother try to convince us and have been trying to convince us that something is seriously wrong with Jack and Lilly. We know that. That victim shaming doesn't stop. Every chance you get, every single chance that you get. And he licks his lips when he's lying many times, I agree.
So it had nothing to do with a black eye?
No.
What's this?
Double no. How about just a simple no?
Story behind the black eyes? Because I think it's been something a lot of people have been asking about, that there's a multiple black eyes. What would you want to clear up about that?
I mean, the black eyes, it definitely was not from me, Dave.
I mean, the black eyes, it definitely was not from me, Daniel. Okay, let's hear.
Daniel would come out and say that first. Come out, because I know the world thinks that, and that's absolutely heartbreaking for me to be accused of that stuff.
Heartbreaking. Remember when Daniel likes to use the term heartbreaking? Whenever he goes into that terminology?
Because, as you can see, and even
because. It's heartbreaking for me to be accused of that stuff. Okay, that stuff is using distancing language, can be a form of avoidance stuff. He doesn't want to identify it. He doesn't want to identify what he has been accused of. He doesn't want to name it. Rather than saying, I never hit them. What we want from him are reliable deniers. Something very reliable. But now he talks about heartbreaking. What do you mean it's heartbreaking? To be accused of what stuff? And why do you feel the need to explain it? Let's see, because as you can see, and even
In the court documents, Malay referred
always the court documents
to as Daniel was an involved parent, and he didn't even physically discipline the kids.
He didn't even physically discipline. Did you do a lot worse than that? You see, this is comparing. This is comparative. He didn't even physically discipline the kids. Right, because something else is on your mind that is worse than physically disciplining the kids. What is on your mind right now? What are you leaking when you use the term even, as if physical discipline is nothing?
If I'm not going to physically discipline them,
Got it?
why would I ever abuse them?
Right. If I'm not going to physically discipline them, why would I ever abuse them? I don't know. Why would you do it? And this makes no sense. If I'm not going to physically discipline them, then how could I abuse them physically if I don't even physically discipline them, right? But he's not saying that. He said, why would I ever abuse them? I don't need to give you the reason why you would do it. You're asking us a question now, because you are using far too many words for a reliable denial to tell us that the black eyes didn't come from you. It's far too much. I didn't do it. That's a simple answer. I didn't black eyes. So make or some tell us what happened. But there's a huge avoidance here, people. Huge avoidance. And why were they scared of you? Because you had a certain tone of voice? I don't know. How about the kids knew what can happen when you get that voice and they ignore it?
That's the first thing. But the most of the black eyes were.
But the most of the black eyes?
I want to lose 20 kilos for wedding.
Sorry.
Do you know your fasting time? No.
Probably from Lilly, because.
Listen to this. Listen to this victim blaming. Why would I ever abuse them? Sorry, dude, but when you are supposed to give us a reliable denial and you don't do it, and then you come up with another question for us, no, that is not reliable, dude. You don't make it a requirement for us to give an answer to this particular question in order for you to be able to tell us in a reliable manner that you did not abuse Jack and Lily. And now your children say you did. Your own children. Why would I ever abuse them? I don't know. Why would anybody?
First thing. But the most of the black eyes were probably from Lilly.
Most of the black eyes were probably from Lilly. How you know that? And why probably? You see, it's not easy for him to lie very definitively. He needs to give himself some qualifiers to create a certain balance between his experiential memory and what he is trying to script really quickly, or what he has already had running through his mind. So probably he likes deniability.
Because
Because
I don't want to say 100% because Jack was really clumsy too.
I don't want to say 100%. Okay. That's already telling us no. And Jack was really clumsy too.
Like when we used to take him to the woods, he would fall a lot. I remember one time
Yeah, but that's not giving you a black eye.
Jack ran right into the doorknob on the door.
Okay, he ran right into the doorknob. Now I'm expecting for you to tell me that gave him a black eye. But are you going to do that?
They would throw stuff at each other.
Yeah, you see, he is talking about Jack is falling. Jack ran into the doorknob. They would throw stuff at each other, but he is unable to tell us that these events gave Jack a black eye. You see what he's doing here? He is planting seeds, people. Daniel is a seed planter, a habitual seed planter. He doesn't want to lie directly to you, but he likes to do, similar to what Darren did. Just plant all these seeds so people's minds are going into certain directions that are going to be dead-end streets that lead away from the obvious. Everything here is so obvious, people. It is so obvious, but they're working really, really hard on obfuscating the facts. They would throw stuff at each other. Okay, and?
Quite aggressive toward each other.
They were quite aggressive. I thought they were like best friends, dude. That's what you said in the beginning. Why did it take so long for you? I didn't hear that one before. Kids fight, kids argue. Can happen.
And most times when they became aggressive, Malaya couldn't handle them. I had to come home from work 4 or 5 times just due to the fact Malaya couldn't handle the kids.
And what did you do when you got home?
And that's why you can refer to the documents again.
No, not the documents. Tell me in your own words.
Malaya said that Daniel had a voice that the kids listened to.
Yeah, because they knew when you raised your voice, maybe, or they knew your tone of voice. I think they knew what would happen next. They knew what came next.
Now, was this behavior of them physical? Is that why CPS was called? I mean, you mentioned there was behavior. Were they?
Yeah, it was behavior at school because Jack would refuse to do things, or some days he would do it easily. Other days he would completely refuse. They became aggressive. I remember Lilly would try to pull her hair out sometimes when she would get.
Yeah, Lilly pulled her hair out sometimes.
Frustrated.
What could frustrate her so much that Lilly pulled out her own hair? Well, that's not aggressive towards Jack or anybody. That's aggressive towards herself. That's self-harming, right? That's like a grown-up person being a cutter.
So, I mean, there was just, and I'm not.
And now he's thinking about it and wondering, should I have said that or not? Was Lilly frustrated at home? Where did she pull her hair out?
I'm gonna point fingers at Malaya saying that she couldn't handle the kids like 100%.
But you just did that.
But it was a struggle for her, man.
They're still protecting each other, Malaya and Daniel. I believe it's all about Meadow for Malaya. And I believe she lied to CPS multiple times. I believe she protected Daniel. She failed to protect her children. She was negligent. And she thinks that if she talks, everything will come out and she will never get to see her daughter or never have custody of her daughter again. That's why both of them are still in sync. Of course, the difference was that for a while, Daniel was so angry that she left him that he leaked a lot of things. But he realized that would backfire.
It really was.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her because, you know, being a
Okay. You don't blame her for struggling? Let me hear this.
like 100%. But it was a struggle for her, man. It really was.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her because, you know.
Now, she struggled with the kids. And I don't blame her because, well, who are you going to blame? Jack and Lilly? Because they were the problem for you, right? Malaya having her in the house was not a problem for you. Jack and Lilly was a problem for you.
Being a stay-at-home mom isn't easy, right?
Right.
What do you mean being a stay-at-home mom isn't easy? What else did she have to do? What was she so busy with?
No, it's not. No, it's not. I mean, being a parent in general is not easy. And
Of course, it's one of the most difficult jobs you'll ever do.
yeah, and if they did have autism and they had some behavioral issues,
They didn't.
I mean, that can only add to it as well. And so none of the reasoning, well, let me rephrase this. So CPS doesn't have anything open when it comes to Jack and Lilly currently. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's good to know. There's not an open investigation. There's nothing there.
No.
Okay. And
Well, they already failed in the past,
so the cadaver dogs come out here recently. Now, a lot of people have been speculating because you had a vehicle traffic incident that occurred.
Yeah.
I guess
what's he drinking there? I'm just curious.
So the cadaver dogs come out here recently. Now, a lot of people have been speculating because you had a
What kind of drink is that? Canada Dry? Oh, it's like a soda? Ginger ale? Okay, got it. Okay. He's not getting hammered on camera. Cheap Pilsner beer? No, I need to know from Canadians because gasoline. Oh my God. Oh, guys, this is the moment where I'm tuning out. This is a serious... Okay.
vehicle traffic.
Because if it's beer or alcohol, I would want to know. If in this moment he's like, oh my God, I need to take a drink before I answer the next one. Don't light up. Ah, crap.
Incident that occurred.
Well, I don't vape. That's one thing.
Yeah.
I guess the time.
I think vaping is actually worse. That's just my opinion. The chemicals are worse than the actual tobacco, in my opinion.
Timing behind that's a lot of people are kind of trying to point, connect some dots. What happened in the traffic accident?
Okay, got pulled over.
I mean, not accident, incident. I said accident.
Yeah, incident. That's right. Yeah, I only got into one accident ever. We don't want to talk about that. But yeah, the incident is I got pulled over, and the vehicle wasn't the registration wasn't in my name.
Okay.
But now it is. The vehicle sitting in the driveway and everything like that. I didn't receive any fines, and the car just got impounded. Went down, got it towed out of the impound, and It's all good.
And so the vehicle was there. Now I'm curious. Did you see anything out of place? Any of the body panels inside out of place? Did it appear?
No,
it didn't do anything.
No, it went straight to the tow yard. Nothing was different on it. Nothing was moved. It was just.
If investigators wanted to go through it, would you have?
Oh, investigators knew about my vehicle being impounded. I even said to the investigators, like, you should seize that as evidence and then give it back to me so I don't have to pay the impound fees. Like that's how much I joke with investigators, man.
Yeah. And so
I thought your car wasn't towed, dude. No cars were towed. Remember he said that? He made it plural, cars. No cars were towed, right? Isn't that what he said? So, we need to remember this in terms of his lying pattern. We need to recognize when a pattern indicates that he is telling the truth and a pattern indicates to us that he is making things up or lying. Because that will make every analysis in the future much easier for us. No cars were towed. That's what he said. So he is adding a little bit of a variety. He made it a plural, no cars in general. So when he keeps it very general, that is in order to make it easier for him to plant a false seed. You see the difference? Let me see if I can find this real quickly, where he said no cars were towed. It's been a few days, right, since this statement came up. And I remember Kent was saying at the time, yep, car was towed. I hope I find this real quickly. Yep, here we go. Never forget, people. Okay? What does this statement tell us? He uses plural for a reason. Using plural, you see, technically he's not lying. No cars were towed. You can say, well, I was talking about cars in plural. It was only one car. Look how vague he is here. When Janie was asked about the 5-speed, she said, no 5-speed, no, something very similar, she said. Not a clear denial either. There is a big difference between, we are not talking about cars in general, we're talking about your car. A clearer denial would have been, no, my car didn't get towed. I don't know what you're talking about. That would be clear. Not this. And this is the big difference. We need to realize that. So there's a great training tool right here. When we can recognize in the future, make sure before you believe Daniel that he's actually telling us exactly what happened and what didn't happen. With a clear confirmation or a clear, reliable denial. Otherwise, when he's being vague for a reason. And that is avoidance. That is his way of practicing avoidance.
So you got your vehicle back. The property with the cadaver dogs. Now, they show up.
And the more we analyze a subject, the easier it becomes for us to pick up on things immediately. Yeah, could be Justin's. I believe that too. And there he also said, why, Justin has a family, why would he come down all the way? It doesn't matter. That doesn't mean he didn't come by at night to help you.
Notice did you have that they were going to be at your property?
I didn't have any notice. I didn't know what day they were coming, what hour they were coming. It was on Monday. I literally got home at 1 o'clock. My visit was over at 12 o'clock with Meadow. So I got home around 1 o'clock because it's an hour drive. And I pulled into the yard and the SUVs were there. The picture or video
the SUVs were there. That was a significant moment to see the SUVs. He goes into too much detail. And that shows a very significant emotional impact for him. Oh shit, they're here. It's D-Day.
Is that you? That was at the blanket site. That's when I knew the dogs were in Lansdowne.
Gotcha. And so so I know that there was news out there, you know, that the RCMP reported it to the news. So if they didn't report it, you wouldn't have had any knowledge?
No, I didn't know what day they were coming. I didn't know what time they were getting, you know, from the airport or wherever.
And why? Absolutely. Major avoidance. It's not illegal to drive a car that's not registered in your own name. That's not illegal if you have the permission from the owner. Why don't you talk about your license or your insurance or lack thereof or lack of both? Why don't you talk about that? You see, avoidance is huge in his case.
How they were shipped, the dogs.
And so from the time that they did notify you, I'm assuming that they did, or did they just knock on your door and say, hey, we're here?
No, I wasn't even home at the time. They must have just came right into the yard and Mom was there but they were searching for only about an hour before I arrived on scene, like before I arrived home.
And when you arrived, they were still there searching?
Yeah, they didn't hardly make it anywhere. They must have been talking to Mom for the first little while because literally they were right outside the end of the house, like by the bedroom. They were just walking around, you know. So, and then I walked up to them. I said, "Hey, you know, can I walk up to you and the dog?" Right?
Yeah.
Being respectful, obviously.
Yeah. And did they allow you to walk with them throughout the search?
Yeah, I did walk with them for, you know, some of it, but then, you know, I was like, oh no, I don't want to get in the way. They were asking me where they should search and stuff like that. So, you know, I just told them, you know, do whatever you need to do. There's the beaver pond out back. There's the marsh right beside the house. Like these are wetland areas, so the ground's much softer, right?
The ground is much softer. What are you thinking about now? The ground is much softer. Would they be in softer ground? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I figured, you know what I mean? Those might be good places to start for them.
Why? Why would softer grounds be better to start? Have you been researching about cadaver dogs? Have you spent a lot of time on that? I think you have.
Yeah. And so they're searching out there. How long was the dogs while you were there? Obviously they were there for a little bit before you got there, but how long were they there on your property while you were there?
3 hours maybe. That was only one dog. The very first day there was only one dog.
And
on the property. It was a black shepherd.
And did the handler have him on a leash, or did he let him free roam?
They free roamed while they were in the yard, but when they took them onto the paved road, they had them on leashes. The leashes were like just rope that was like 20 feet long or something like that.
Good deal. Good deal. And so the first day comes, they search, and it was just one dog. They leave. Second day comes in. Is it a different dog? Is it the same dog? Or
they brought in, I believe on the second day, they brought in both dogs.
Okay. And they searched it at the same time, or was it one after another?
They had them. They were both. Well, I kind of want to say both together, but like they weren't walking right over each other's footprints, right?
Gotcha.
So
And so they search out there. How long were they there on the second day?
on the second day, they did 3 or 4 hours too. But they left a little bit earlier because they wanted to go back and do the pipeline and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
And the free roam again off the leash on the property.
yeah, whenever they were on the property, they were always free roam.
And
You know,
so,
they had fun chasing the cat around. You know, smell.
He is licking his lips a lot. That's true. Yeah, what does a beaver have to do with it? That's a good question too.
On the chickens, they went inside the chicken coop. The dogs actually did not go underneath the house. We lifted up, you know, the door on the side of the skirting, and I was the one who crawled under there. I think I told you that in a message.
Most guys over 40 go to the gym to look strong, but they can't do 10 push-ups. That's not real strength. That's not real training.
Oh my God.
yeah, you did.
Yeah,
They were pointing to you to go to certain places and uncover things and stuff.
yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, I didn't. I felt bad for them. I didn't want to get their, you know, their pretty uniforms dirty.
There you go. So, and so, you know, they're out there and they leave that area. They go out to the, you know, where the boot print was. Is that the last time they searched your house, or was there a third one?
I'm not sure if they came back or not, because on Wednesday, right? It was Monday when they first landed, and then on Wednesday I had to go back and I had a visit with Meadow, so I was gone for majority of the morning until 1 o'clock again.
And did they tell you if they found absolutely anything out there?
I was not notified of anything.
Now, did they tell you they didn't find nothing, or did they just not mention anything? Because I mean, could they
They
have
didn't
found
mention
something and
anything
not
to
say
me.
it? Okay.
yeah, difference.
Yeah.
All right. And so
They didn't say we found nothing. They just didn't mention anything. Big difference. Now, I would like to know if they searched Earth's or Ron's property here. They were? I'm reading your chat now.
did they?
But
they
I
inform you
think-
where they were going to be at?
But when I went by on my Friday's meeting with right after my
Friday, twice Friday.
visit with Meadow, I didn't see any of the vehicles at Northeast Major Crimes where I've seen them. Seen one on Wednesday, right? The K9 unit handlers SUV. So I figured what they're doing, they still have the cadaver dogs out, but they're searching different locations now.
Understood. You know, a lot of people were talking about, you know, your uncle's property, and then maybe even I think Janie has mentioned that she has a 7-acre property out there as well. Do you know if the cadaver dogs or the search dogs have searched that property?
I'm not sure if they did or not, but the properties are really close to the pipeline, so I imagine they would have walked up and down the sides of the road. So
Very close to the pipeline, yep. They would have walked up and down the sides of the road. Where are you heading on Thursday night, Daniel? Let's see if there's some leakage here of any kind. They would have walked up and down the sides of the road. Why? Okay, because they're close to the pipeline, sure. Are you now remembering where you went on Thursday night?
Yeah.
they might have done them. I have no confirmation on that though, Daniel.
Understood. So you don't know.
No.
And would there be any issue if they showed up and said, "Can we search this property?" You think?
That's a good question. Now let's see how he reacts to this.
I'm sure
Oh
Janie
no,
would.
there would have been no issues. Like my family's 100% cooperative. They would never say no to anything of law enforcement.
Has there been anybody, not necessarily inside your family, but anybody in the neighborhood who hasn't been cooperative?
I know what you're getting at, Daniel. I know what you're getting at.
He's wanting him to talk about that neighbor that talked about the 5-speed. This is a pretty good question, actually. To get him to talk maybe about the neighbor.
And I'm going to say, I don't know if they were not cooperative, but they weren't happy to be cooperative.
And so,
You only need 100 Thai words to understand 60.
I know that there was a person who wasn't too fond of the command center being close to their property.
That's right.
Do you know if they denied anybody of entering their property?
I am not 100% sure on that, but it would have been stupid not to let law enforcement on your property. I mean, they're already knocking on the door, and I mean, just by sitting in front of your house, I mean, it's not a wise thing not to let them in.
So the command center was, let me look at maps or Earth. And I need to find out the name of this neighbor. Give me 1 second. So apparently, the command center was down here somewhere, right here. Jack and Lilly, command center was there. So if you're watching, maybe if you can give me again an idea whom this property belongs to, right here. Because I think it's time for me to find out, where exactly that neighbor lived that heard the 5-speed. So if any of you listening, I'm pretty sure I got the screenshot of the record of the landowner. I got it somewhere, man. I think I got it somewhere, but I need to look through it. Because now, if anybody's listening and if you want to look it up, Justin Smith. But Justin Smith is not the one who said they heard a 5-speed, was he? He was? I'll find out. Because Janie described before where that neighbor lived. She did refuse at first, or she was being very difficult, and then she gave in because she had no other choice.
Yeah, no, I understand. Now, I believe this person, and I don't know if it's the same person or not, but I believe this person has mentioned a couple of things. One of the things mentions is that he heard a vehicle driving around at 5 a.m. Or at some point, a 5-speed vehicle. Is there a vehicle that has visited you? Maybe not that night, but in other nights, maybe they're confused about the night that they heard this. Have you ever?
Very good question, and I think I know what he's about to say. I heard it before. I listened before, but let's listen again.
Had a late night visitor with a loud vehicle.
No.
So now we need to listen closely to what comes to his mind and how he states it when he's asked if he knows anybody with a 5-speed. This is going to be very important.
Oh, I don't know anybody with the 5-speed other than my brother.
I don't know anybody with the 5-speed other than my brother. Yep, your brother comes to mind.
My brother has a wife and a family, so he's not driving out there in the middle of the night.
Really? Even if you called him or notified him, you need his help, it's urgent, your brother wouldn't come down there? I'm not so sure about that.
And is it like a vehicle that...
Because you're not giving us a reason. You're saying your brother wouldn't drive down there. You didn't tell us that your brother didn't drive down there. My brother didn't come by that night. That's what I would expect. That would be reliable. And you're not doing it, Jude.
One of the things mentioned was that he heard a vehicle driving around at 5 a.m. Or at some point, a 5-speed vehicle. Is there a vehicle that has visited you? Maybe not that night, but in other nights, maybe they're confused about the night that they heard this. Have you ever had a late night visitor with a loud vehicle?
No, I don't know anybody with the 5-speed other than my brother. And my brother has a wife and a family, so he's not driving out there in the middle of the night.
He's not driving out there in the middle of the night. Well, I need you to tell me he wasn't there that night. So far, you keep it very general. No cars were towed. He's not driving in the middle of the night. What night? In general, I want to know only about Thursday night.
And is it like a vehicle that's loud?
No, it's a brand new Subaru.
Oh, okay. And so...
and it's not customized or anything either, so there's no loud exhaust.
But there is dead silence at night in the area, right? And no traffic. So that doesn't mean the neighbor couldn't have heard. There is a car coming and going because there's nothing else. Nothing else to listen to. Dead silence out in the boonies in the middle of the night.
Or anything like that.
Just like a normal vehicle.
Yeah.
And the area, if somebody were to come to your house, would they have cell service in your home if you had friends over?
What's that? Would they have service?
Yeah. If you invited me over to your home and I went over, would I have cell service at your house?
No. If you put your phone in the window, you might have one bar.
Do people what do you use so that people do have service?
Wi-Fi. We have Starlink.
And when people come to your house, do you share that information so that they can have service, or is that something that's private?
No, Wi-Fi is left completely open. I don't know if I want to say that on the internet, but it's left completely wide open.
You may want to close it.
Yeah, after this, I am going to close it, I think.
Yeah, you might want to, because people might pull up close to you and try to log in. But yeah. All right. Now, the reason I ask is because if somebody's visiting you, they most likely would connect.
Got it. Belinda just said, on Saturday, Janie, this is you, Belinda, right? I see only you. Janie refused to let them search Saturday. They came back Sunday and did the search. They didn't get a warrant, but they threatened with the warrant. So Janie made it very difficult. The fact that Janie keeps talking about, I let them search my house, indicates to me that she didn't want them to search her house. She finally gave in. Hi, Belinda. Hi again. Anything you want to correct, Belinda, or anything else? I don't know how long you have been listening, but is there anything else that I left out that should be mentioned here? Belinda, I'm assuming that you know who the neighbor is. I will look it up again. I know the location that was pointed out where headquarters are, where the police headquarters were. Because on this particular show, he actually pointed out the location, and I just pointed it out on Google Earth also. So it will be very easy for me to get the property information and figure who owns that property, and then I'll know who the neighbor is. You know what I mean? I mean, it's pretty simple, right? It has nothing to do with doxing. It's just, and I know that you may be listening. You, the person, okay. Give me a second. Let me email him. Oh, wow. Hmm. I'll find out.
To the Wi-Fi so they can have service, correct?
Yeah, we left it wide open before people that are stranded on the.
Malaya has now stated Justin did not live there, and I'm not sure about who owns the property. Oh, okay. I thought Smith's property was towards lake. Well, let me show you again on the map. Right? Let's get there. Let's go there. Jack and Lily here. Command center right here, right? I believe this is where the command center was. And I believe Janie also said to us, you go Lansdowne Station Road, that's where the neighbor was. So the neighbor was not that close to them, but it was in the middle of the night, out in the boonies. And I do believe, yeah, even if you have a new car, the neighbor would have heard there's a car coming and going. How strange is that when there's absolutely no traffic anywhere? Justin told Malaya Daniel was cheating, really? Got it. Thank you, Belinda. Yes, this is the property, guys. So this will take me, I'm not going to look through all of my property info right now that I have. It's so much. Well, give me a second. Let me get some coffee. But you see, that's the danger when we pay attention to Daniel's new girlfriend and all of this stuff, that we overlook some of the most important information. That we need to look only at the facts, people. Not listen to theories, not listen to people's thoughts or opinions. These facts are crucial. And I know I got it somewhere, man. And now I'm obsessing, of course, because I want to see if I can find it. I have probably 50 properties here, 50 different screenshots. And now I don't know how to find it. Now I'm looking through it. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. If I happen to come across it right now, great. If not, one of you who's been helping me, if you please be so kind and send me the information of. And Belinda, I may have shared this with you. I may have found this out before and even shared it. I don't really remember right now. So if you could send it to me, if any of you happen to have it, just so I can look at this location and who owns it. Because Daniel's reaction, oh, I know what you're getting at. Remember he said this just now? And he smirks because he knows, uh-oh, there we go. That neighbor. Right? That was interesting too. Very interesting, actually.
The side of the roads, or law enforcement when they were here, so they would have Wi-Fi, because even when they were in the house, the radios didn't work.
Gotcha. And so, have you?
There's a lot of reporters that came down from like Montreal that drove down and stuff like that, and they had satellite phones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And have you had parties at your house or anything like that?
No, I don't have parties. I was raising kids and having a family, Daniel.
No, I don't have parties. Very general. I don't have parties, okay. I was raising kids and having a family. Right. Define having parties. What comes to your mind, Daniel, when you think about having parties? Plural. Parties. You know, some people have different ways of partying, different types of habits, different types of hobbies, you know? Not all parties are created equal. But you need to mention that you have a family. Does that keep you from so-called partying? Because a lot of people have families, but that doesn't mean certain habits die the moment they have a family. Doesn't mean it at all. So, you know, you're giving me that as a reason. Oh, what did Janie and Ken say? Is it confirmed RCMP searched Daniel's uncle's property on Friday? Belinda, do you know anything about the search? Like anything that the rest of us don't know that's worth mentioning? Do you know if Ron and Earl's properties have been searched, or if there was any kind of search activity close by? I mean, I don't know. I haven't really heard anything about it. You know, Justin having kids and a family doesn't mean he didn't drive down there that night. And you raising kids and having a family doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have parties. And again, define what partying means to you, right? Because your neighbor thought, well, that's the first thing your neighbor thought when he heard the 5-speed. Anyways, let's keep moving.
Now, I know that some people have questioned this a lot. drug use.
Yeah,
Is that something that you've ever had a problem with?
I've used drugs before in the past. I'm not ashamed to say that. I'll be the first person to say that.
You'll be the first person to say that. Okay. In the past, distancing. How long ago? How long ago? Wow, so they searched runs, but Earl's property was where the ATV was kept, right? Or was it, that's what Janie told us. I'll be the first person to say that. Okay. Yeah.
And when did it stop?
Good question.
It stopped before the disappearance. Obviously, I wasn't.
No. It stopped before the disappearance. Obviously. No. No. And what you mean, it stopped? That's passive language. You would have to say, I stopped before the disappearance. This is a lie. This is a straight up lie, Daniel. And you see, now, yeah, obviously, when they say obviously, and these kinds of words, be on high alert when Daniel says obviously. Same with Katie Proudfoot. I went to sleep at midnight, obviously. No. Sorry, that doesn't fly. It stopped before the disappearance. You see, it's much harder for him to say, I stopped. Active language, not passive language. It's what we're looking for. Let's hear this one more time, dude. This would be funny if...
I'm not ashamed to say that.
And when did it stop?
It stopped before the disappearance. Obviously, I wasn't using drugs during the search.
Yeah, but what about what Haley said? During the search, okay, but what about when you're not searching?
Or anything like
anything like that, right? Anything, okay.
Some of Malaya's family claim to say.
Gotcha. And is it so? This is a problem from a while ago, or is this a recent problem that you've had?
Well, Daniel was never really a problem. Like I wasn't.
Right. Okay, so Earl took over payments, but maybe physically they got it. Okay, it was never and you were in NA meetings when they tell you the first thing that you need to admit to yourself is that you're having a problem. It was never really a problem. Well, maybe not for you, but maybe the people that you lived with. You know what I mean? And so far, I mean, it depends on the rugs that people use, right? I mean, the one substance we're talking about here tends to really be a problem. I mean, there are people who use, who powder their nose once in a while at a party and then don't really do it. But the kind of substance that we're talking about here tends to be very, very problematic from how I understand it. But of course, in his opinion, there was never a problem with anything. In his opinion, he didn't abuse Jack and Lilly either. So he has a tendency not to look at anything that he does as being problematic.
Going into any psychosis or being, crazy in any way. I wasn't doing like breaking enters or, doing anything like that.
Well, but you overcharged your Malaya's grandmother's credit card. There was constant financial difficulty. Well, you always had Patty. And I hate to say it, but Patty was an enabler, in my opinion. You know, you guys got 8K from her, and still she let you use the card. Your dad bought food for you and your family because your dad probably knows, in my opinion, what your hobbies are, and figured, oh my God, they don't have any freaking food in the house. They spent their money on who knows what. And then, you know, he gets his vape, they go to Starbucks, but there's no freaking groceries, and the kids are digging through the kitchen to find something. Yes, Malaya did this, Granville, absolutely, but Malaya was the enabler. She was like the middle woman, right? She was the enabler who gotten the money from her grandmother, and you know who spent it. I mean, did they both do it? Yeah, maybe, you know? I mean, that's what people do. They introduce others to their hobbies, so they can say, well, we both do it, right? So in the end, Patty was an enabler, always forgiving everything. I believe that. Patty forgave everything and said, okay, use my card again. Okay. And then, you know, he always had somebody to fall back on. He never had this real desperation that a lot of these addicts have when the family kicks them out and they say, good luck to you. Good luck to you, dude. Come back if you hit rock bottom and you're ready to change. But he always had some enablers going on. Yeah.
Feeding addiction.
Right.
You didn't have to, dude. And you got free money for Jack and Lilly. You had it made in the shade, baby. You see, you had it made. You had an easy life. But the problem was your mama didn't like Jack and Lilly.
But when was the last time that she did?
Good question. He uses passive okay, good question. When was the last time? Let's hear what he has to say.
Please.
Much before the disappearance. I can't put an actual day on it, but
much before the disappearance. You know, much before the disappearance. Also, it's incorrect English, right? Yeah, it doesn't flow. Surprise, surprise.
it was much.
I can't put an actual day on it, but okay, when he uses but, it means ignore what he just said. But it was much
before.
Gotcha.
I didn't have any drugs. There was no drugs on the property. There's no meth labs. There's nothing like that. You would have seen me going on handcuffs the very first day if there was drugs, right?
Yeah, that's why I said, I believe on Thursday night, when the 5-speed came by, everything was being removed. So maybe in your own mind, you figured, hey, that's long before the disappearance. If you transported Jack and Lilly away from the property and you count that as a disappearance, then maybe, you know, you say much, not a long time or weeks before or days before, a couple of days before, a couple of months before. You don't commit yourself linguistically to that at all. You say much before. So this is now very sensitive, guys, because now he's bringing up his reasoning. If there were rugs on a property. And again, I believe that was a problem when Malaya asked, should we call 911 on Thursday night? And he said, no, wait a minute. I've talked about that leakage before. Because the concern was he's gonna be in handcuffs. So whatever was in the back shed that was completely empty, I believe what emptied out on Thursday night, whatever it may be.
I would assume so.
And every time he asks a question, this is a huge sensitivity, guys.
There's nothing like that. You would have seen me going on handcuffs the very first day if there was drugs, right?
You would have seen me in handcuffs the very first day if there was drugs, right? Every time Daniel answers a question with a question, be on high alert, people. High alert. That's a strong indicator that he wants you to take a break from his answer and say, I can't answer this question, so I'm going to give up asking you. He's trying to make it our responsibility to come up with a satisfactory explanation that we don't have to, right? We don't have to answer this question for you, Daniel. We don't know. What happened Thursday night?
I would assume so. You know, when they say that there's no evidence of a criminal offense, I would assume drugs would be a criminal offense.
So, yeah, that's correct. And
Yep. I mean, by the time the cops showed up, everything was gone. I believe that. I believe you. Are you guys still okay, by the way? I don't know how much longer. Okay, I think maybe a couple more minutes.
Investigators even told me, they said, Daniel, if you had any drugs, we would just take them. But we know there was no drugs on the properties.
We would just take them? That doesn't sound like handcuffs.
Gotcha. And so
I didn't have any drugs. There was no drugs on the property. There's no meth labs. There's nothing like that. You would have seen me going on handcuffs the very first day if there was drugs, right?
He says that. You would have been in handcuffs, but?
Assume so. You know, when they say that there's no evidence of a criminal offense, I would assume drugs would be a criminal offense. So,
yeah, that's correct. And investigators even told me, they said, Daniel, if you had any drugs, we would just take them.
You would just take them, right? What about being in handcuffs? Would you be in handcuffs or would they just take them? Anyways, guys, I think everybody's kind of fading out right now. I'm going to spend some time on finding out exactly what happened with that property. I think that's very important to know. Oh, I'm getting some messages. Give me a second. What the hell? Why is it stuck? Give me a second, guys. I can't see. No, okay, you guys are still active. Sorry. Something froze on my end. Oh, yeah, you guys are still here. You see how he contradicts himself, this dude. Anything that he can think of. I see you later, guys. Let me just listen if there's something here.
But we know there was no drugs on the property, so.
We know there was no drugs on the property. We know. We don't know that.
Yeah. And I know that Malaya's family has mentioned that. Has, to your knowledge, Malaya mentioned that to anybody? Or is that just
I think she did. But, I mean, the narrative's always been targeted at me, right, though, Daniel?
Gotcha.
You're the victim, I know. Belinda's still in chat, so if you guys have questions for her, and if there's anything Belinda can think of that I missed, you know, I wasted some time with this psychologist and new girlfriend of Daniel's or whatever, that backstory, that gossip that a lot of people love to dive into, but can't tell me who owns the property, who, you know, Wow, man. You know, my favorite thing, I have to say, is to listen to Daniel. Because he gives it all away. And unfortunately, so far, I haven't seen RCMP acting upon it. But that's my favorite thing to do, to analyze Daniel. Because he leaks like crazy. The girlfriend story is just sidetracking, Belinda just said. I agree 100%. That's why, you know, I was sent the other video. So I spent a couple of minutes on that. But that's all bullshit, guys. All of it. So when Drunk Turkey has Daniel on, yeah, I agree. But then when he has downtime and he gets a psychologist to discuss things, no, man. And then no, that's all sidetracking people. That's what the majority of people pay attention to. And I was very happy when I asked you guys if you're interested, and the vast majority said no. And I said, oh my God, my chat is different than what I normally see out there. And how different it is, it's always, yeah. Because you guys already know it's a waste of damn time. I don't care who he's dating. You know what I mean? Stephanie, I only listen to him when I'm on the air. I only listen to Drunk Turkey when I'm on the air. I haven't listened to this interview except maybe 3 or 4 times when I'm here with you guys. So I figure a good way to do this is that we can listen to what Daniel is saying, but I have the opportunity to put everything in the proper perspective so we don't get sidetracked with the wrong thing. What's going on here in the chat? Ah, crap. Because and you see the downside, of course, I'm missing a lot of things, but the things that I pay attention to, I really pay attention to. Who's second mission? I don't see it, man. They can't block me, right? And still be able to comment in my chat? Any moderators here? Oh. Oh, really? Oh, was deleted? Okay, somebody may be watching, one of the moderators. Interesting. So Belinda was just asked, was there actually food in the house? And Haley said there was next to no food. I believe that. They had their own priorities. And Jack and Lilly had to, I believe Jack was rustling through the kitchen because he tried to get food. I believe that. And I believe that happened a lot. It wasn't dinner's ready, kids. No, it was probably more like, you know, wow. Yeah, they did take out. Look, guys, they spent money on his vape. They went to Starbucks and then they had maybe some pizza. And I think that Daniel's being a baby, unless his dad brings him food or, you know what I mean? That was not much a priority. And if you're using certain substances, your appetite goes down. And Diesel Reeser said what? Let me see. Oh, just some window liquor. Belinda, anything that you noticed when you were on that property or in the house, anything doesn't have to sound like something really big, but something where you just say, that was strange. Maybe it's nothing, but maybe it's something. We don't get a lot of trolls here. Because they don't have an entry point, because the conversations are above their heads. You know what I mean, guys? They know they don't have anything that they can. Yeah, kids need nutrition, man. And I mean, look how Daniel looked a few years ago. He was pretty muscular and healthy looking, and, you know. Okay, guys, I will keep going. I will keep going with the chat because this is, you know, I like it. Let me see how I can do this. Let me get a little more Daniel here.
And, you know, I'll stay in the spotlight as long as it takes, because as long as I'm the target, the individuals or groups or whoever has the kids, they're gonna feel more relaxed, and that gives investigators a chance to strike.
Oh, really? Right. So Belinda says, the only thing I found strange was recycling bottles everywhere. So recycling bottles were everywhere in the kitchen area, Belinda? So I have no doubt that he is scraping for extra money when he spent everything on something that, you know, I have no doubt. I'm just going to your chat right now, people. Let me make sure everything is. Yeah, I think that's exactly what's happening. I think there was trash all over the kitchen. So I'm putting this on the screen now. So if you guys see this in rerun, you can also, you know, get an idea of why I'm still here in chat, because Belinda is here talking and answering some questions. Belinda, oh my God, I have so many questions throughout the day, and then when I'm on the air, I don't always remember them. I'm getting better writing things down. Well, if Malaya's family was eating and drinking coffee, then I think that food came from her trailer. I think that came from Janie's trailer. I believe Janie probably brought them some food, and that's why she was so angry, because I think that Janie probably doesn't want, to be bothered, inconvenienced. But I think that every Friday, the hermit went to the market with her brother and bought enough groceries for herself for the week. Or people were bringing food. Okay, got it. People were bringing food. That's right. I don't believe there was food in the house. So when Belinda says, according to Haley, there was hardly any food, I believe that. I do believe that. Remember, Earl was often bringing food by? Yes, Diesel, exactly. Earl came by many times to bring food, to make sure they're eating, and fuel. And that leads me to believe it wasn't Daniel's priority to go shopping for nutritious food for Jack and Lily. I'm sure they got milk. They got something. They got enough for Meadow. I'm sure they took care of Meadow, though. Not necessarily the healthy, probably milk powder, right? And some. Yeah, Earl took care of them. I mean, the government gave him enough money to take care of Jack and Lily. Yeah, Earl, he is a hermit, right? He chose to have his privacy. I can see that. I think Earl figured my son isn't taking care of himself or the family at all. So maybe he bought baby formula and all of these things, and he didn't give them any cash because he probably figured if I give my son cash, I might as well throw it down the toilet, So I'm going to go shopping myself. I'm going to go grocery shopping, and I'm going to drop it off at their house to make sure that they eat. Food banks? Yeah, but you see, exactly. The government money that went someplace else, dude. And Wade was right. I don't know what they did with all their money. Well, he answered it in another question, about habits. Malaya said her mom had her on medication for years when she first met my son. Okay. Well, that can make you passive. I wonder if Daniel is here. Daniel, say hi if you're here, dude. And Daniel hasn't answered me, by the way. He says he answers everybody, but he didn't answer me in my message. When I asked him, did Jack have an accident in the kitchen? That's the first and only question that I sent to him. So. The invisible pool. The invisible pool. That would be a good movie title, man. Yeah. Janie in a pool on her own floaty. I think Fluffy needs a pool. You see, there's love and there's selfish love. So you can love your dog or you can have selfish love, which is not the same thing. Tint wanted to stalk Malaya. I missed all of that, people. I'm not so sure they were all searched. I'm not so sure. A bad vibe about whom? I think I know who you mean, and I cannot disagree. I have no doubt that Tint knew Durwood. Tint was out for the reward money. Remember what he wrote to Wade? I split the money. Just I give you $500 right now if you tell me where the kids are. I analyzed Tint's messages when he talked about, we can donate. Tint is all about the money. The messages he sent to Daniel and the messages that he sent on his YouTube channel, it's all about the reward money, all about it. He wanted the 150,000. So yeah, I'm glad that he got Wade to make some statements and we got to hear them, sure. But I think Tint, he thought maybe Durwood is right. He can get some information out of it. But obviously he hasn't found anything. Well, as long as Belinda's here, I keep going a little bit more with the chat because this is good. Tint met Daniels through Durwood? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. I agree with you. If money is what motivates people to find Jack, to find out what happened, then more power to you. But I still have to say it. I still need people's intentions. I still have to find out what people really intend, what their real intentions are, to put things into right perspective. So while I'm looking for any type of agenda, it comes to me what the motivation is behind any person. She's going to the beach every day, yeah. Kent said Tint phoned Durwood the night before Tint went to Cindy's. I don't see mission accomplished or whatever the account was. I think somebody... I think there's a moderator here probably watching, not interacting, but watching, who took care of it, which is good. Okay, guys, you know what? I'm gonna, if there are no more questions for Belinda, oh, okay, Belinda's still talking. I keep going. I will shut up. And the chat is on screen right now. If somebody has a screenshot, send it to me, yeah. If a moderator deleted the account, then I cannot retrieve it. Or maybe I can see it. I can scroll up maybe and see it on my end. Oh, wait. I'm getting a message. Wait a minute, guys. Maybe I can scroll up a little more. Let me see if something was deleted that only I can see. Nah. Have they told you anything they're planning to do, Belinda? They're now done with the searches, with the dog searches. Are they completely done? Of course. I mean, you were not here in the beginning, but I'm assuming that you know Daniel made that one statement. Let me show you, which is the topic of this video. His own children. I'm going back to chat. Forget it. Janie's got a rake. Everything she says is fake. Yeah. Yep. And you see, that's why my title of this video, Belinda, Daniel is his own worst enemy. If it wasn't for him, RCMP was in no hurry to reveal this. But Daniel told us, I mean, he told the girl who leaked it that his own kids ratted him out. Yeah, man. into the doorknob. What the hell? Should I play Janie's Got a Rake in the background? With a picture of Gary Busey. Wait a second. The chat is going, guys. If you're watching this in repeat, look at the chat. It's happening there. And if you have questions for Belinda, ask him. Anything reasonable. Janie's got a rake. What did her Danny do? You can see it on the screen, right? It's nice, dark mode. It's making sure that those later on watching this
I don't like to be on camera. I don't like my picture taken. I'm just a quiet person that just wants to be left alone. I would go out and throw snowballs at them. For the last 2 years, I observed those kids in my backyard. Could you stand Lily straight?
she was terrorizing them.
Janie's got a right.
Little Jackie too.
Janie's got a right.
Oh, there she comes.
She's got so much to do.
He folded his arms. He was in defensive mode immediately. Yeah, I'm not surprised Drunk Turkey is doing that.
What's she gonna do? Filling up potholes or clearing for a pool? Observing Jack and Lily, she's taking Jack's butts. Hitting them with snowballs with Danny's on the ruts. Couldn't stand those kids, couldn't stand Lily's scream. She said you couldn't take it, no, we don't know what you mean. Danny's got a rake, now she's flattening in the drive. She's so full of love, she's working through the night. Earl's lost, she's the boss, now he's got no wife. Danny's got a rake, but she's got no life. Someone call Pet Rescue, cause Fluffy needs saving. Trapped in the RV with Janie's raving. Fluffy wants to play with the kids outside, dreaming of the woods or an RV ride. Janie's got a rake, now she can't stop speaking, and the more that she talks, the more she's leaking. She's so clueless, she don't understand. Look out, Jamie, here comes my demand. Statement out Analysts fly by higher. Nothing gets past him, you just don't buy it. All of the BS Janie's leaking. Here's a new one, she is speaking. Janie's got it right.
He wants the stupid people to continue down that road because he wants people's minds to go into all types of directions.
What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep.
But you have to remember too, the baby was laying on her arm as well.
They happened to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens.
I imagine now if they're in the woods that it'd be probably brown, but I don't see them carrying their backpack. I don't see them keeping a pull-up on for that long after it got soaked from the very first day.
I instantly just called 911.
Janie's got it right.
Come on, Jackie. Come on, Jackie. Let's go, Jackie. Let's go, Jackie.
Janie's got it right.
It's all I hear out here.
She's got so much to do.
Where I was breaking that night.
Her driveway needs a pool.
That's where the blueprint was found.
What did her daddy do?
In the mud where I was breaking.
What did he put Jack and Lily through? They said when Daddy was arrested, they found him on the Pipeline Trail. In front of helicopters running, now that Janie's got a rake, coffee's never gonna be the same. So, oh my God, look at such a dumbass. Jordan is crying because his dad needs a hall pass. We're sure that the kids have been taken. Malay is hiding them on the reservation. My calls BS is not in the language. I listen from Australia with my Vegemite sandwich. Jack and Lily deserve the truth to be known. Peeling back the layers till the truth stands alone. Our hearts are breaking for the heart of Belinda. I don't know, but Janie can't remember. Little Jack and Lily got the forces of angels, ripping through the lies as demand untangles. All through the night as Janie's raking. Danny's so dumb we can tell he's faking. Hillbillies can't keep the story straight. The truth will come out and we're prepared to wait. We will never forget, we will always remember. May, June, July, all the way to December. January, February, March, April, May. For little Jack and Lily, we're here to stay. What fucking bear, what blanket, what wrench. The story stinks and we're cleaning up the stench. Welcome on the search, follow the scent. No matter how far the story gets bent. Janie's got it right.
Our heart don't lie, and my heart's telling me
Janie's got it right.
that my kid did not have nothing to do with
She's
this.
got so much to do.
And I had nothing to do with this.
Her driveway needs a pool. What did her daddy do? What did he put Jack and Lily through? They said when Daddy was arrested, they found him on
And there is such a stark contrast right now between where his mind is at and where the minds of the people are who want to know what happened to Jack and Lily. And that is the only thing that we want to find out right now. I had nothing to do with this. She didn't say with that, and she doesn't identify what it is, but it's close to home when she says with this. With what? You're not responsible for what happened to Jack and Lily? What did happen? Yeah, too many ocean references, though. Let me hear some Janie audio. One moment.
To Jack.
Janie's got a rake. She's got so much to do. The driveway needs a pour. What did her Danny do?
Galaxy A56 A36 5G วิดีโอ 4K เก็บโมเมนต์ได้ช้าสุดแค่ไหนก็ถ่ายช้าแถม
You probably did question him. And they're not people to deal with. And they already started rumors about us having a party here, which was not true. So I just would like to keep things quiet here. We've always been quiet.
Let me put it on the screen. Unless you guys are done. You tell me.
It's just one particular neighbor that is a disturber. You all this time to come out and speak about Jack and Lilly, but when you have investigators telling you not to say anything and they're getting after Daniel for doing it. They searched my trailer 3 times. Yes, I don't know why. They did. They even went through my washer spinner. They pulled it out and they looked in it. They took everything out from under my bed. They went through everything. The trailer, they were in the trailer. They searched the trailer. There was so many people in there. So
Happy Thanksgiving to you also, Belinda, and to everybody. I feel strange sitting here not commenting, but it's very good when you answer some of the questions we have. And I have a lot more questions that come to my mind. And then, I mean, again, the question is that, I mean, I would love to put you under hypnosis because I believe that maybe, but I'm not sure if I believe in hypnosis, but if there's something to it, that there is maybe something you could possibly remember, like you remembered that Justin and Daniel parked far away. You know, anything like that, anything that stands out. But I think I'm going to stop now, guys, and I'll be back soon. So let me see.
they figured if Jack and Lilly were in there, then they would find them with all the people in there. You see where I'm here by myself? That's why.
I think I'm going to stop, guys. I see you guys soon, okay? Unless somebody has another question for Belinda. If you do, go ahead and ask, guys. I hate to break this up when there's still the possibility that there will be a brilliant question coming right now, or something that may get Daniel to come in and talk, actually, as he has been doing here and there, you know. But I think he knows better, and he didn't answer my question that I asked him in private chat. It's the only time ever I asked Daniel anything. And the question I asked Daniel is, did Jack have an accident in the kitchen? Or did Jack get hurt in the kitchen? And he didn't reply to me yet. But he says in public, he answers every freaking message. And I didn't attack him or anything, right? So we will see. Daniel, if you're listening, thank you, guys. I'll see you next time. It's been 3 hours and 45 minutes. I can't believe where did the time go. I see you later. Good night. Happy Thanksgiving. And let me know if there's something new. Good night, people. Oh, good evening. What, Sandra, what did you say? What did I miss? What did Janie just say about investigators? Oh, God. Do you want me to go back there? Yeah, I hate to break things up, man.
I got the trailer my RV got searched so many times. Investigators No, they ain't telling us nothing. So it's time that I started telling people stuff. And I don't care anymore. I want the whole world to know what I know.
What do you know?
I don't care if it hurts their investigation.
She knows. It leaks it all the time.
Or not. People have the right to know what I know. And
Interesting. Daniel always says, I don't want to hurt the investigation. But Janie says, I don't care. And how could it hurt the investigation? The only thing it can hurt is the narrative that Malaya and Daniel have come up with, and Durwood. Right? So, yeah, good night, guys. I never can say goodbye. She knows there's no water on her property. There's no water. My property is not near the ocean. Why did she say that? Ocean reference. Always ocean and mud and surf. Okay, people. Have a good night.
And I'm tired of hiding behind them.
I'll continue with this next time. I'll see you later, people. Good night. I'm gonna, wait.
So when Daniel and Darren did their interview, and Darren said that Janie would do an interview if she did it on her property. And they said that was fine. They came and they talked to me, and I said, yes, I will do it.
Okay, good night, people. I have to shut it down. See you later. Bye-bye.